Chapter 110. Early in the morning, Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu were in a quiet place on Tianyan Mountain. Qingshan, what's the matter? Ting Qinghu was very proud of himself recently. In the competition of 50 sergeants, he won first place and obtained the position of centurion. Of course he was proud. Ting Qingshan said with a straight face, "Look at you. Did you forget that in June there will be another recruitment of new recruit? At that time, the Black Armored Corps will decide on the 8 weakest centurions. Let the 8 weakest centurions compete with the newly arrived first-rated warriors for the centurion position." Ting Qinghu was startled. He immediately touched his head and laughed. "When the time comes, we will do what we have to do. Catch." Ting Qingshan took out a book from his bosom and threw it over. "What is this?" Ting Qinghu caught it. This was obviously a book made of rough drafts and not a printed version. There were 4 big words written on the white cover: 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame. Ting Qinghu was surprised and flipped it open. "Qingshan, this. Ting Qinghu's eyes lit up. He looked at Ting Qingshan in surprise. "Qingshan, this is a secret spear art that is compatible with inner strength. Where did you get it from?" My inner strength is compatible with this spear art. The power is great, but it looks quite complicated." Suddenly, Ting Qinghu was stunned. He looked at Ting Qingshan. "Qingshan, this is the secret manual of the Guiyuan sect, right? In the sect, there is an order that the secret manuals they bestowed cannot be passed on to others. Otherwise, it would be a violation of the sect rules. I can't learn it." He threw it to Ting Qingshan. "Don't worry. Am I that kind of person who doesn't know what's important?" Ting Qingshan smiled and threw it back. "This secret book, 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame, was created by me. You can learn it." "You created Qingshan?" Ting Qinghu's eyes widened. Ting Qingshan once again took out the Ardent Flame spear art from his bosom. "In the sect, this Ardent Flame spear art was bestowed to me. In fact, after you have mastered the Ardent Flame spear art, it would be better for you to learn the 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame. In the sect, I can't break the rules. In addition, the time until the next round of recruitment is too short. If I let you learn the Ardent Flame spear art first, you won't have time to learn the 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame." The Guiyuan sect had strict rules. If the secret manual was given to a person, and this person spread it all over the world, what secrets would the Guiyuan sect have? Therefore, the secret manual could only be learned by the owner. If it was passed on to an outsider, it would be a great crime. If the harm was light, it would be estimated that they would be imprisoned for a year and a half to repent. If the harm was heavy, for example, in the sect's important secret manual, then they would be crippled of their martial arts or directly sentenced to death. However, like the self-created 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame, the Guiyuan sect did not prohibit it. On the contrary, if the Guiyuan sect knew about it, they would be very happy to collect this secret manual. According to the power of the newly created secret manual, the creator of the secret manual would also be given a reward of varying levels. If you directly learn 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame, it will be a bit more difficult. But I will personally teach you, it won't be a big problem." Ting Qingshan was very confident. "Your listening ability is already very good. I estimate that in a few years you will be able to reach the level of one with the spear." When Ting Qingshan was young, it was very easy to reach the level of one with the spear. That was because Ting Qingshan was a grandmaster in his previous life. As for Ting Qinghu, in order to reach the level of one with the spear, he would need to practice the Great Pillar Spear for a long time. "Well, Qingshan, I will listen to you." Ting Qinghu was somewhat looking forward to it. From today onwards, every day, 1.5 hours in the morning and 1.5 hours in the evening, learn this spear art. Ting Qingshan said. "Yes, cousin brother's master." Ting Qinghu giggled. Whether it was crossing worlds, 5 Techniques of the Ardent Flame or the Tiger Fist, they were all taught to him by Ting Qingshan. Although Ting Qinghu and he were cousins, they still had a master and disciple relationship. When it came to martial arts, it didn't matter if it was the age. Be serious, don't become the weakest of the 8 centurions. If this spreads out, it won't look good on me, Ting Qingshan said. Don't worry, Qingshan, I won't let you lose face, Ting Qinghu said. In the following days, Ting Qingshan taught him attentively. Because he understood his cousin's strength very well, he taught in accordance with his cousin's ability. Ting Qinghu's improvement in strength was completely within Ting Qingshan's expectations. From 5 techniques of the ardent flame, Ting Qinghu could be considered to have small success in these 2 moves, inflamed flame and flashing fire. As for silver flower of the ardent flame and blazing the prairie, the difficulty was too high. Ting Qinghu could only be considered to have touched the edge. As for the most powerful move, Legend of the Ultimate Flame, one must know that even Ting Qingshan, in his previous life, knew about the state of dejection and spent a long time to create this move. Ting Qinghu knew nothing about this move. He had no experience in the so-called state of putting oneself in a dead end and then coming back to life. There was no other way. In terms of realm, Ting Qinghu still had quite a bit of difference. Inflamed Flame is the most courageous move out of the 5 moves, and Flashing Fire is the most sinister move. With these 2 moves, cousin can be considered to be above average amongst the centurions. Ting Qingshan was very sure. When we return, we will be waiting for cousin's performance in the internal competition of the Black Armored Corps. Very quickly, the 3 months of guarding the mine had passed. On this day, in the evening, Brother Qingshan, haha. Last time, my little brother and I said that your future was boundless. Look, how long has it been? You are already a commandant. If you don't mind, just call me brother. Huafeng City's city lord Gui Qing said with a smile. Ting Qingshan had a very good impression of this city lord Gui Qing. At least he did not have the slightest bit of arrogance. The last time, he treated him very well. Brother Gui, I was just lucky, that's all. Ting Qingshan laughed. The purple gold theft, brother, can be considered as a blessing in disguise. Gui Qing said mysteriously, have you found out the identity of the culprit who crippled Shirasaki? Yes, who? Ting Qingshan was puzzled. He did not investigate the culprit. It was a young man called Dong Yen who was the leader of the fierce bandits. Gui Qing sighed. That Dong Yen, in my Huafeng city, is not famous among the common people, but among the rich merchants and gangs, there is no one who doesn't know him. He is a vicious and merciless kid. If he fought with him, even if he won, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Ting Qingshan still remembered that young man. At that time, when that young man's partner was killed, that young man had a crazed look on his face as he went to kill Shirasaki, but suddenly, he released a concealed weapon. That Dong Yen, I have only seen him once, Ting Qingshan praised, but he is very sinister. It seems that he is crazy, but it is all an act. Moreover, he has several first-rated warriors under his command. His concealed weapons are also very vicious. This kind of person is indeed not to be trifled with. It is indeed not to be trifled with. This kid, at the age of 12, dared to kill a rich merchant's entire family with poison. He did not even leave any guards behind. His methods are very devious. I just received news that Dong Yen ran to Shuyang County. He also joined a big gang in Shuyang County. Gui Qing said, I have a feeling this Dong Yen, you just watch. 10 years later, he will definitely become an influential figure in Yangzhou. Ting Qingshan was secretly shocked. Killing a rich merchant's entire family with poison at the age of 12, he was indeed very vicious. Sir Commandant, a sergeant of the Black Armored Corps who was in charge of the lookout ran over. The other battalions stationed here will probably arrive at the foot of the mountain soon. Let's go down and welcome them, Ting Qingshan said. Immediately, the commandant Ting Qingshan and the lord of Huafeng City Gui Qing descended the mountain together. Early in the morning, under the watchful eyes of the commandant of the other battalion and the lord of Huafeng City, Ting Qingshan led the 500 black armored corps soldiers under his command and left Tianlian Mountain majestically, heading towards Jiangning County. When they arrived, Ting Qingshan was a centurion and Ting Qinghu was a corporal. But when they returned, Ting Qingshan was a commandant and Ting Qinghu was a centurion. The fate of life was just so wonderful. The black armored corps' warhorses galloped rapidly on the official road. Smoke and dust billowed. On the official road, no matter if it was a rich merchant, a commoner, or a bandit, they all retreated to the side of the road for fear of disturbing the black armored corps. Thud! 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 The warhorses gallop. They set off early in the morning. When the sun was glaring, Ting Qingshan and the others had already left Huafeng City and entered the territory of Yi City. Stop! Ting Qingshan ordered. Lulu, the well-trained black armored corps soldiers quickly stopped, not at all disorderly. The other 5 centurions immediately rushed to Ting Qingshan's side. Lord Commandant! Tian Dan and the others looked at Ting Qingshan. Brother Tian, I will temporarily separate from you here. Qinghu and I will go home first. As for you, go directly to Yi City to eat and rest. I believe the Lord of Yi City has already prepared food and wine. In the afternoon, Qinghu and I will rush to Yi City to gather with you. At that time, we will set off together and return to Jiangning, Ting Qingshan said. Tian Dan and the others nodded. When they arrived, Ting Qingshan couldn't go home because Shirasaki Commandant was above them. But now, Ting Qingshan was the commandant, the supreme leader of this battalion. Whatever he said, they would naturally do. We can finally go home. Ting Qinghu was overjoyed. When we return, old Du, Brother Tian, the 4 of you lead the troops well. Ting Qingshan entrusted the task to them. Lord Commandant, don't worry. The 4 of them smiled. Ting Qingshan nodded slightly, then looked at Ting Qinghu. Qinghu, let's go. In the presence of so many soldiers, Ting Qingshan had to maintain the dignity of the commandant. When he called Ting Qinghu, he had to call him Qinghu instead of cousin. Jia! Jia! Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu rode on their warhorses and quickly disappeared from the sight of the black armored corps. Let's go too, Tian Dan said. Du Hong nodded, then said in a clear voice, Let's go. Immediately, the black-armored soldier's horse set off majestically in the direction of Yi City. After another hour, the black-armored soldier's horse finally arrived at Yi City. On the main road of Yi City, the black-armored corps marched forward. The vendors, merchants, and passers-by all retreated to the side, not daring to provoke these terrifying soldiers. On the road with many restaurants, Yi City's castellan, Yang Ku, was leading a group of subordinates to welcome the arrival of the black armored corps. Castellan, a man with a scar on his face, wearing an embroidered robe, smiled and said, This is the new commandant Ting Qingshan. He is from our Yi City and has a good relationship with me. This person was Master Lu San of the White Horse Gang. As the leader of the White Horse Gang, Master Lu San had a more graceful air. But who didn't know of Master Lu San's deeds and how ruthless Master Lu San was? Haha, is it because Ting Qingshan is too strong that you, Master Lu San, want to make friends with him? The middle-aged man in white laughed and said, But your luck is really good. This Ting Qingshan became a commandant not long after he entered the black armored corps. Moreover, he was appointed by the sovereign himself. The sect master had treated him very well. He was still young, so his future would definitely be boundless. You have good eyes to make friends with such a person. Master Lu San's face was full of smiles. Oh, the black armored corps has arrived. Let's go and meet your good friend, Ting Qingshan. The castellan of Yi City, Yang Ku, said with a smile. Master Lu San immediately went forward with him to welcome them. P.S. 3 chapters have been completed. Today is the first day of the outbreak. How many days will Tomato have the outbreak? We will know when it's 12 o'clock. Yes, at that time, Tomato will send a notification chapter. Chapter 111. 500 soldiers of the Black Armored Army marched on the main street of E-City in a majestic and orderly manner. The dense murderous aura scared the surrounding commoners and peddlers into silence. The entire street was filled with only the clop, 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 clop. The Lord of E-City led a group of soldiers and immediately welcomed them when he saw them from afar. Stop! Du Hong ordered. The entire Black Armored Corps stopped in unison. Dismount! Du Hong yelled. Sounds of heavy armor clashing could be heard as the 500 soldiers dismounted. Haha, everyone is finally here. The Lord of E-City, Yang Ku, went up to welcome them. Lord! Tian Dan and the other centurions who were walking at the front cupped their hands and greeted. Where is your commandant? Yang Ku asked curiously. Du Hong lowered his voice and said, Lord, our Lord Commandant temporarily parted ways with us and went back to his hometown. Yang Ku suddenly understood and nodded with a smile. Qin Shan is from E-City. Yes, he should go home. All right, everyone must be tired from the journey. Let's quickly eat and rest. Just leave the war horses to us. Thank you, Lord. Immediately, the 500 soldiers were assigned to the 4 restaurants under the unified command. Did you hear that? Yang Ku glanced at Lu San who was beside him. That Ting Qingshan went back to his hometown. Even if you can't see Ting Qingshan, you can still get to know those centurions. It will only be good for you. Yes. Lu San replied with a smile, but he was disappointed in his heart. I heard that Brother Ting Qingshan became commandant. I didn't expect that I wouldn't be able to see him. I don't know when I will be able to see Ting Qingshan again. Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu were galloping on their horses. Dust flew everywhere they passed. Qingshan, look. Ting Qinghu was overjoyed as he pointed into the distance. Ting Qingshan looked into the distance. The indistinct village was the Ting Jia village that he had lived in for more than 10 years. I'm finally here. Ting Qingshan couldn't hold back the ecstasy in his heart. It hasn't even been half a year and I'm actually so worried about home. Ting Qingshan was somewhat surprised, but at the same time, he was also very satisfied. In his previous life, he didn't have a home, but in this life, Ting Jia village had his parents, his sister, and many other clan members who cared about him. This was his route. We're back. Ting Qinghu shouted excitedly from afar. Open the door. Open the door. As always, Ting Jia village lived a peaceful and tranquil life. The 2 clansmen guarding the gate looked doubtfully at the 2 riders in the distance. Where did the cavalry come from? Mounted bandits? But there are only 2. He seems to be wearing heavy armor. Even their horses are heavily armored. They don't look like ordinary mounted bandit. The guards were very confused. Just then, we're back. Open the door. Open the door. The familiar voice entered their ears, and the 2 guards were startled. They looked carefully outside. At this moment, the war horses were already in front of the gate. This is, it's Qinghu and Qingshan. Quick, go open the door. Qingshan is back. Qinghu is back. A loud and excited voice resounded through the entire training field. Immediately, the numerous clansmen in the Ting Jia village's training field rushed towards the gate. Haha, second uncle. Uncle Lien. Ting Qingshan jumped off the horse, took off his helmet, and greeted the surrounding clansmen. A large group of clansmen surrounded Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu. Qingshan is back. TSK. Is this the heavy armor of the Black Armored Corps? Qinghu, what kind of horse is this? Its fur is pitch black. The entire training field was very lively. Yongfan, your son Qingshan is back. Sister Lan, Qingshan is back. This shout quickly spread throughout the entire Ting Jia village. Even Yuan Lan and Qingyu, who were cooking at home, immediately threw down their spatulas when they heard this shout. They didn't even care about their food, as they quickly ran towards the training field. While running, they asked, "Is my son Qingshan really back?" They ran all the way. When Yuan Lan and Qingyu rushed to the training field, they could already see Ting Qingshan, who was wearing a hematite heavy armor, in the distance. Ting Qingshan turned his head and saw his mother and sister. "Mother!" Ting Qingshan couldn't help but yell. His mother was fine, but his sister, Qingyu, rushed into Ting Qingshan's arms and cried, "Brother!" Her eyes turned red. "Little Yu, don't cry, don't cry." Ting Qingshan comforted her. "Yes, I really miss brother." Qingyu raised her head and looked at her brother. She grew up under Ting Qingshan's love. She was not used to not seeing Ting Qingshan for almost half a year. "Qingshan, Qinghu." Ting Qingshan turned his head and saw Chief Ting Yunlong and his father, Ting Yongfan, walking over. Ting Yunlong looked at Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu and said with a smile, "It's good that you are back. Qingshan, you did well. It hasn't even been half a year. You are now a commandant of the Black Armored Corps. Our entire Tingjia village is proud. Qingshan, you did well." Ting Yongfan also patted Ting Qingshan's shoulder. "Grandfather, father, you? How did you know?" Ting Qingshan was slightly surprised. Even Tingjia village knew that he was a commandant? Li Er greets Lord Commandant. A fat man with a big belly wearing a jade thumb ring smiled and bowed. "Uncle Li Er." Ting Qingshan also greeted with a smile. Li Er was a small leader of a large trading company. Tingjia village usually bought ores from Li Er. Ting Yunlong, who was at the side, smiled and said, "Qingshan, this news was just told to us by Li Er. For the business deal just now, Li Er only took 80% of the silver from us. The remaining 20% was waived. This is our master's order. In the future, when Tingjia village buys materials, they will all be 20% off." Li Er said with a smile. "Your master is?" Ting Qingshan still did not know the identity of his master. Li Er said, "My master lives in Jiangning County City. His surname is Lan and his name is Shanhu." Ting Qingshan nodded. This Lan Shanhu gave him face, so he would remember this person. In the future, if he could help him, he would. Hee, then I won't disturb you anymore." Li Er slightly bowed and immediately left with the people of the trading company. It's rare for Qingshan and Qinghu to come back. Moreover, our Tingjia village has a Black Armored Corps commandant. This is a matter that brings glory to our ancestors. Prepare for the banquet. Ting Yunlong laughed and said, "Qingshan, Qinghu, this banquet was not prepared in advance. You will have to wait for 2 to 4 hours. When the time comes, you must accompany the clansmen and drink." Ting Qinghu looked at Ting Qingshan. "Grandfather, cousin and I can only eat lunch at home. After a while, we have to hurry to Jiangning County City." Ting Qingshan said, "So, there is no need for a banquet." "Ah, leave after lunch?" The surrounding people were somewhat surprised. Ting Yunlong also nodded and smiled. The Black Armored Corps is busy with military affairs. Qingshan is now a commandant. Everyone, don't bother Qingshan. We can't delay Qingshan's important matters. Alright, Qingshan, Qinghu, you two go home first. Have a good reunion with your parents. At home. There was no one else except for Ting Qingshan's family of 4. "Qingshan, eat." Yuan Lan put food into Ting Qingshan's bowl. "Mother, enough, enough." Ting Qingshan looked at his mother, then at his father and his obedient sister. His heart was filled with warmth. "Qingshan, when will you come back next time?" Ting Yongfan asked. "I should be able to come back before the end of the year and stay for 2 or 3 days. Ting Qingshan said. Being on duty in the Black Armored Corps, one could not easily leave. Only the high-ranking officers could have a short vacation. The higher the position, the longer the vacation. If the commandant wanted to temporarily go home to visit his family for a few days, he still had to go through the Lord Commander. As for the commander himself, it was easy. Because the commander had very few things to do, he had more free time. Only until the end of the year. Qingyu was a little disappointed. Father, mother. Little Yu is also an adult. There should be many people coming to propose marriage these days. Did little Yu fancy anyone? Ting Qingshan said with a smile. Ting Qingshan still attached great importance to his sister's marriage. Humph, brother, don't mention this. Qingyu snorted. Those who proposed marriage, don't mention you, they can't even catch up to cousin Qinghu. Yuan Lan smiled helplessly. There's nothing we can do. Qingshan, Qingyu just has high standards. None of them are good enough. Mother, what's the rush? I'm only 14. It's fine even if I get married in a few years. Qingyu hastily refuted. Suddenly, Qingyu's eyes lit up as she looked at Ting Qingshan. Brother, can I go with you to Jiangning County City? I've never been to Jiangning County City since I was young. Nonsense. Ting Yongfan scolded. Don't bother your brother. Yuan Lan also said. Ting Qingshan's heart was moved as he hastily said, Father, mother. Actually, the Black Armored Corps allows family members to live there. Of course, the living conditions of ordinary Black Armored Corps sergeants are poor. However, a centurion is already very good. Now that I'm a commandant, there should be a very good house for me. You guys can live there with me. Little you can also go there. In the future, when you guys have nothing to do, you can also go to the county city for a stroll. Ting Yongfan and Yuan Lan looked at each other. They were somewhat tempted. Staying together with their son was indeed a good thing. I want to go, I want to go. Qingyu excitedly jumped up. Father, mother, what about you guys? Ting Qingshan looked at his parents. Yuan Lan looked at Ting Yongfan. As a woman, she had to listen to a man. Ting Yongfan pondered for a moment and shook his head. No. Qingshan, you should know that your grandfather is old, and the position of the patriarch will be inherited by me. This is actually a small matter. The most important thing is, I want to teach the disciples of the clan how to forge weapons. In the clan, only your grandfather and I know this ancestral skill. Your grandfather is so old, do you think he can teach? So. Yuan Lan also nodded. Ting Yongfan continued, Your mother and I will be able to enjoy life in the county city. However, I have to think about the clan. How about this, you take little you there? She's a girl, so she can broaden her horizons by going to a big place. Your mother and I have so many clan members to accompany us in Tingjia village, so there's nothing to worry about. In the future, when you have time, you can come back to visit us. Since his father had already made up his mind, Ting Qingshan could only agree. All right, little you will come with me to the Gui Yuan sect. Whenever you want to go, you can also go and live there for a month or two. In any case, the county city is only 300 li away from here. Father will ask someone to tell me, and I will personally come to pick you up. Ting Qingshan said. Chapter 112. Ting Qingshan stayed at home for 2 hours. Afterwards, he brought his sister Qingyu and rode on the azure mane treading in snow horse. Together with Ting Qinghu, they left Tingjia village and rushed to Yi City under the gazes of many clansmen. It didn't even take an hour to travel from Tingjia village to Yi City. Nay, Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu slowed down. In front of them was the city gate of Yi City. Get out of the way, get out of the way. When the city guards saw Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu's attire and the appearance of their horses, they immediately ordered the people around them to the side and respectfully allowed Ting Qingshan and Ting Qinghu to enter Yi City. Brother! Qingyu's eyes widened as she turned to look at the city guard. The Black Armored Corps is really powerful. Even the city guards don't dare to collect money. Collect money? Ting Qinghu, who was at the side, laughed. Qingyu, even the lord of Yi City, doesn't have the right to collect money from Qingshan. Qingshan is now a commandant. According to the military rank, the lord of Yi City is the same rank as Qingshan. No matter if it was the government or the Black Armored Corps, they were all controlled by the Guiyuan sect. Therefore, there was a difference in rank. Jiangning County had a total of 9 cities. The lords of the 9 cities had a similar status to the commandant of the Black Armored Corps. The county governor of the main city, Jiangning County, had a similar status to the commander of the Black Armored Corps. However, both the commandant and the commander were from the Black Armored Corps. Therefore, the lords and county governors would naturally feel a bit inferior. Lord Commandant. At the entrance of the restaurant, there were already a few soldiers chatting in group. When they saw the 2 horses galloping over, a soldier immediately shouted, "Xiao Yu, get off the horse!" Ting Qingshan stopped the azure mane treading on snow horse completely. Only then did Ting Qingshan cautiously jump off. After all, this azure mane treading on snow horse was over 8 feet tall, which was a bit too tall. Ting Qingshan dismounted his horse and a soldier immediately came to take the reins. "Sir Commandant, the Lord of East City is waiting in the restaurant on the left," a soldier reported in a low voice. Ting Qingshan turned around to look, and it just so happened that the East City's governor, Yang Ku, was leading many people out of the restaurant and walking over. He reckoned that when Ting Qingshan was walking on the street, he was discovered by the soldiers in the restaurant and reported to the Lord of East City. "Haha, Commandant Ting, I warmed the wine pot 3 times just to wait for you," Yang Ku teased, "but I finally got to see the youngest commandant of the Black Armored Corps. Unfortunately, it's getting late. Otherwise, I would definitely drink with you to my heart's content. When I return to East City next time, I will definitely drink with Governor Yang to my heart's content," Ting Qingshan said with a smile. "Brother Qingshan." A voice sounded behind Yang Ku. This voice is... Ting Qingshan looked behind Yang Ku in surprise and saw a middle-aged man with a scar on his face walk out from the group of people behind Yang Ku. "Brother Lu San." A smile appeared on Ting Qingshan's face. "Haha, Brother Qingshan, when you wanted to join the Black Armored Corps, I knew that Brother Qingshan would have a bright future. But I didn't expect that in less than half a year, Brother Qingshan, you are already a commandant." Master Lu San immediately glanced at the large number of Black Armored Corps sergeants who were coming out of the restaurant. Ting Qingshan smiled and cupped his hands. "Governor Yang, Brother Lu San, time is tight today. Next time, I will definitely treat both of you well. Then, I will leave first." Then, under the gazes of Yang Ku, Lu San, and the others, Ting Qingshan and the others got on their horses. "Little Yu, hold on tight," Ting Qingshan said in a low voice and then shouted, "Depart!" Immediately, the 500 Black Armored Corps left East City under the leadership of Ting Qingshan. Once they were out of the city, they immediately galloped on their horses. The Black Armored Corps rushed to Jiangning at an extremely fast speed. When the sky darkened, Ting Qingshan and the others went around to the east gate of Jiangning County City. The Black Armored Corps military camp was located near the east gate. As soon as Ting Qingshan and the others entered the city, they quickly entered the military camp. The 500 sergeants were also dismissed and returned to their respective residences. The next day, morning training. As soon as Ting Qingshan appeared on the drill ground, many familiar centurions and commandant friends came to congratulate him. "Brother Qingshan, congratulations! Qingshan, you are now the youngest commandant. After 10 to 6 years, when Commander Ji retires, you will have a good chance of becoming our first commander. After becoming a commandant, Brother Qingshan, aren't you going to treat us to a meal?" "Yes, we have to have a good meal." There were many people who congratulated him. Some of them were sincere, some of them were sarcastic. Once a person occupied a high position, there would be people who admired him, but there would also be people who envied and hated him. It was true that those who were not envied and hated by others were mediocre. Of course, Ting Qingshan didn't care. No matter what, Ting Qingshan was the most impressive person during the morning training. Everyone knew that Ting Qingshan had become a commandant. Everyone, tonight I will be hosting a banquet at the Canvas Lunar Restaurant. When the time comes, please do me the honor. Ting Qingshan said in a clear voice. Immediately, the surrounding people responded. In the Black Armored Corps, Ting Qingshan was quite popular. At this time, everyone was happy to support him. They wanted to get closer to this commandant with a bright future. Commandant Ting. A Black Armored Corps sergeant ran over and said respectfully, "The commandant has ordered you to accept the commandant's belongings and residences. Sir Commandant, you only need to follow me. Lead the way." Ting Qingshan held his reincarnation spear and followed the Black Armored Corps sergeant out of the drill ground. It had been almost half a year since he joined the Black Armored Corps, but Ting Qingshan still didn't know where the commandant lived. "Sir Commandant, this residence will be your residence from now on. It has been cleaned up. Your crimson blood horse and heavy cold steel armor are also in the courtyard. Sir Commandant, please prepare your cyan mane treading on snow horse and heavy cold steel armor. I reckon that someone will come to collect them in a while." Ting Qingshan nodded. "Sir Commandant, these are the keys to the main door and all the rooms in the residence." The Black Armored Corps sergeant handed over the keys. Ting Qingshan took the keys, opened the main door, and carefully looked around. This residence could be considered a good residence in Jiangning County City. There were 3 courtyards: the front yard, the middle yard, and the back yard. There were 3 rooms in the front of the residence, and a 2-story building at the back. There were 6 rooms in total. There were 9 rooms in the entire residence. There were 3 courtyards, especially the middle yard. There was also a pond with water lilies floating in the water. There was a stable in the backyard, and the crimson blood horse was in the backyard. The commandant's residence is much better than the centurion's residence. Ting Qingshan immediately returned to his original residence and called his sister, Qingyu, and cousin, Qinghu. They began to move their clothes and other belongings into the new house. After an hour, they finally moved everything into the new house. Wow! Qingyu rolled around on the bed in the room. "Brother, this bed is so soft and comfortable. The commandant's residence is much more luxurious than our centurion's residence," Ting Qinghu exclaimed as he looked around. "Qingshan, you have a lot of rooms here. I will stay here. If I don't allow it, you won't stay," Ting Qingshan joked. Ting Qinghu touched his head and smiled. At this moment, "Brother Qingshan! Brother Qingshan!" A voice came from outside the courtyard. Ting Qingshan and the other 2 walked out together. Creak! Opening the door, Zhuge Yun and Zhuge Qing were standing outside. "Brother Qingshan, I know you have been promoted to commandant and moved to a new place. I have come to congratulate you," Zhuge Yun said. Suddenly, Zhuge Yun noticed that something was wrong with his sister, Zhuge Qing, who was at the side. Zhuge Qing was staring at Qingyu, because at this moment, Qingyu was hugging Ting Qingshan's arm, appearing very intimate. Zhuge Qing looked at Ting Qingshan and asked, "Brother Qingshan, who is she?" "You mean little you?" Ting Qingshan smiled. Zhuge Qing heard Ting Qingshan say little you so intimately. She couldn't help but tremble. "Lady Qingqing," Ting Qinghu said, "this is Qingshan's sister Qingyu." "This is his sister?" Zhuge Qing suddenly felt happy. She ran over and held Ting Qingyu's hand intimately. "I heard that brother Qingshan has a sister. So her name is Qingyu. My name is Qing. Your name is very similar to mine. We are fated." Ting Qingyu looked at Zhuge Qing and asked, "You are Zhuge Qing, right?" "Yes." Zhuge Qing nodded. "I heard my brother talking about you yesterday," Ting Qingyu said. "Really?" Zhuge Qing was secretly happy. Ting Qingshan, who was at the side, saw that Zhuge Qing and his sister Qingyu hit it off the moment they met. He couldn't help but feel happy. He then looked at Zhuge Yun and said, "Little Yun, this is my sister, Ting Qingyu. I brought her here from home. However, in the Black Armored Corps there are too few women. They are all men. So, I was thinking, can little you join the Guiyuan sect and become a disciple of the Guiyuan sect? According to the rules of the Guiyuan sect, the disciples accepted from the outside were usually under the age of 10. No problem. Zhuge Yun said straightforwardly, Qingyu is your sister. You are the commandant of the Black Armored Corps. You are a member of the Guiyuan sect. This is nothing. Ting Qingyu was also very happy. Last night, Ting Qingshan had talked to his sister about this. Since she had nothing to do in the Guiyuan sect, she might as well learn the inner strength secret technique. The vigor of the reckless bull was not suitable for women to learn. As for his sister Qingyu, she also wanted to learn it. Of course, she wouldn't oppose Ting Qingshan's suggestion. Little you, Lady Qing said, I'll just go and tell them about this. There's no need for Brother Qingshan to do it. Miss Qing was the daughter of the sect master. What could a small matter like this amount to? Yes. Qingyu nodded happily. Thank you, little Qing. Ting Qingshan looked at the two girls. They had only talked for a while, but they were already calling each other little you and little Qing intimately. There was a difference between men and women. Little you, since you came to the Guiyuan sect, you haven't had a good look, right? Lady Qing said, I'll take you to Longgang. There's also the 10 li long embankment of the canal. It'll be even more beautiful at night. Okay. Qingyu nodded. My brother doesn't have time to play with me. Lady Qing turned to look at Ting Qingshan and said, Brother Qingshan, I'll take little you out for a stroll. Okay. Ting Qingshan was very happy. Zhuge Qing grew up in the Guiyuan sect. If she accompanied Qingyu, Qingyu would definitely make a group of friends in the Guiyuan sect. He didn't need to worry too much. Chapter 113. Zhuge Qing and Qingyu went out, leaving only Ting Qingshan and the other two in the courtyard. June 12th, we'll be recruiting new people, so in a few days, the 8 weakest centurions will be decided. Brother Qinghu, I'm worried about you. Zhuge Yun teased. Ting Qinghu was full of confidence. Young sovereign, in a few days, the competition will begin, just watch. Zhuge Yun turned to look at Ting Qingshan in surprise. Ting Qingshan also smiled. He knew his cousin's strength the best. He couldn't win against the outstanding centurions, but he could still win against the middle to upper levels. In the following days, the centurions and corporals in the Black Armored Corps started rounds of competition. The competition of experts made the field very lively. As for Ting Qinghu, he was promoted from corporal to centurion, so naturally many centurions thought he was a pushover. So, at the start of the competition, someone challenged Ting Qinghu. But Ting Qinghu used pouring oil on fire and plucking chestnuts from the fire, these two vicious and sinister moves, to defeat 3 centurions in a row. Instantly, the centurions understood that Ting Qinghu wasn't someone to be trifled with. The summer evening was very hot. Ji Hong, still dressed in a black robe, came to the sovereign Zhuge Yuanhong's study. Just as he reached the door, a voice came from the study, "Second Marshal Uncle, come in." He pushed the door open and entered. Zhuge Yuanhong was reading a piece of paper. "Grandmaster, why are you looking for me in such a hurry?" Ji Hong inquired. Zhuge Yuanhong smiled faintly and said, "The 9th son of my good friend, Zhu Tong, asked me for a favor." Zhu Tong, are Yangzhou's Zhu god of wealth? Ji Hong was a little surprised. In this world, the Yangzhou salt merchants and the Yuzhou merchants were the most famous. If one were to ask which merchant was the most famous throughout the countless years, it would undoubtedly be the wealthiest Fanli, the god of wealth. Of course, Fanli had long since died. Currently, the most famous person in the world was undoubtedly the #1 salt merchant of Yangzhou, Zhu Tong. As for how much money Zhu Tong had, perhaps only a few people knew. Zhu Tong's father could only be considered a small businessman. When Zhu Tong was 10 years old, he opened the Phoenix Sun restaurant. In just 3 years, the Phoenix Sun restaurant, had almost covered the entire Yangzhou and earned a great amount of money for him. With this foundation, Zhu Tong began to gradually infiltrate into various industries. Zhu Tong had a rule. Step by step, he would only work in one industry at a time. Only when he succeeded in one industry would he enter a new one. 60 years had passed, and Zhu Tong had accumulated an endless amount of wealth. The worst thing was Zhu Tong was known as the god of fortune, and he was also an innate expert. Even Zhuge Yuanhong couldn't help but praise and admire Zhu Tong for being able to become an innate expert while spending a great amount of time and energy on business. There were too many people in this world who admired Zhu Tong. Zhu Tong's hometown is in the territory of Qinghu Island. Why did his son not ask Qinghu Island for help, but us? Ji Hong asked in confusion. Facing Zhu Tong, who was known as the wealthiest merchant in the world, even the Gui Yuan sect had to treat him seriously. Haha, this god of fortune. His talent in business is probably unmatched in history. But even though he has an endless amount of wealth, he is helpless. Zhuge Yuanhong smiled and said, he has 16 sons. It's fine if he has daughters, as long as they are married outside. He can just put some dowries on them. But it's hard to deal with his sons. As the father, he is extremely smart, and all 16 sons are very talented. How do we divide Zhu Tong's endless wealth? All of them want to be the head of the Zhu clan. Ji Hong immediately laughed. Divide the family property? Haha, interesting. Big sects fight for the position of sovereign, and the Zhu clan also fights for the position of patriarch. In a big clan, only one son would inherit the position of patriarch. Once he inherited the position of patriarch, he would have the majority of the wealth. As for the other sons, they would only get a little. Of course, with Zhu Tong's wealth, even if it was a little, it was still a lot. But how many of his sons could be self-sufficient? Human greed was very scary. Even if they said they weren't greedy, how many of them didn't care about their family's wealth? Sovereign, Zhu Tong is an innate expert. He has a long life. You don't have to worry about this. Ji Hong said. If one doesn't think far ahead, he will have immediate worries. Plus, this god of fortune is not interested in making money anymore. He is preparing to study the martial way wholeheartedly. Therefore, he has to choose an heir. Ji Hong said, his 16 sons are all very smart. Zhu Tong has set a rule that he will give his sons a sum of money for 10 years. After 10 years, the one who earns the most will be the patriarch. Ji Hong sneered, this method is quite stupid. Isn't Zhu Tong afraid that some sects will interfere in the fight for the position of patriarch and secretly support one of his sons? Stupid? A god of fortune who earns millions of silver at the age of 10 is stupid. There are no smart people in this world. Zhuge Yuanhong smiled faintly. Ji Hong couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Indeed, who in this world would dare to say that Zhu Tong is stupid? Even if Zhu Tong did something stupid, there would definitely be people who would say that Zhu Tong did it for a reason that ordinary people wouldn't be able to understand. Why does his 9th son want to invite you, sovereign? Ji Hong asked curiously. He wants me to send some experts to help him protect the goods. Zhuge Yuanhong said, 100,000 silver. This price was not considered high to invite the experts of the Gui Yuan sect. Grandmaster, do you agree or not? Ji Hong asked. Zhuge Yuanhong nodded. Years ago, when I visited Zhu Tong, I met his 16 sons. All of them are ruthless characters. His 9th son is quite popular. He looks like a straightforward young man, but in fact, he is very scheming. I have a feeling that the future patriarch of the Zhu clan will be one of Zhu Tong's eldest son, 9th son, and 13th son. Who in the land of the 9 prefectures didn't know of Zhuge Yuanhong's wisdom? Helping him won't do us any harm. Zhuge Yuanhong smiled faintly. Did you watch the Centurion competition a few days ago? Yes, I did. Ji Hong nodded. Did you see the spear skills of Ting Qingshan's cousin, Ting Qinghu? Zhuge Yuanhong asked. Ji Hong was a little surprised. That Ting Qinghu has two powerful moves. One is violent and ruthless, and the other is strange and sinister. Why? But I don't think our Gui Yuan sect has that kind of spear skill. Let me remind you again. I once gave Ting Qingshan a copy of the Ardent Flame Spear Art. Zhuge Yuanhong said. Ardent Flame Spear Art was given to Ting Qingshan? I have also seen the Ardent Flame Spear Art. It has 81 moves, but its power is average. Ji Hong was a little hesitant, then his eyes lit up. Sovereign, you mean that Ting Qingshan? Zhuge Yuanhong nodded. The power of each move of the Ardent Flame Spear Art is average, but Ting Qinghu's two moves, I am sure, were created from the fusion of the Ardent Flame Spear Art. However, that Ting Qinghu's power is average, and he only managed to learn two moves. I reckon that Ting Qingshan himself comprehended and fused the Ardent Flame Spear Art, and created more than two moves of the spear skill. And the power of those moves should be even greater than what Ting Qinghu displayed. Zhuge Yuanhong's eyes were sharp. Looking at the match between the centurions and the moves that Ting Qinghu displayed, he could guess it. This, fusing the Ardent Flame Spear Art to create an even more powerful spear skill? And in just a few months this. Ji Hong shook his head and smiled bitterly. I still can't believe that Ting Qingshan has reached this level. Second martial uncle. Zhuge Yuanhong opened his mouth. Ji Hong bowed slightly. This time, the task of protecting that ninth young master Zhu Chongshi and delivering the goods will be handed over to Ting Qingshan. Let him choose another 2 centurions, and 2 small teams of 10 men from the Black Armored Corps. Zhuge Yuanhong smiled faintly. I will send Ting Qingshan to lead the troops for 100,000 taels of silver. That ninth young master can be considered to have profited. I will send a message to that ninth young master, and ask him to bring his men and wait at the north gate of our Black Armored Corps barracks the day after tomorrow. Zhuge Yuanhong added. Yes. Ji Hong received the order. Ji Hong quickly left the study. Zhuge Yuanhong looked in the direction of the Black Armored Corps barrack. In just a few months, you are able to create such a spear skill. My previous evaluation of you was still too low. Looks like in the near future, our Gui Yuan sect will also have a genius who is listed in both the Hidden Dragon ranking and the Earth ranking. No one in the Gui Yuan sect could be listed in the Hidden Dragon ranking. As for the Earth ranking, it was the same. For a person to be listed in both lists. In other words, before the age of 30, one must be listed in the Earth ranking. This condition was too harsh. There were too many people in the world, and naturally there were many people with talent and perseverance. Zhuge Yun could only be considered a genius in the Gui Yuan sect. In the whole of Yangzhou there were people who were more talented than him. Not to mention the whole of the 9 prefectures. To be listed in both the Earth ranking and the Hidden Dragon ranking, one's name would shake the whole of the 9 prefectures. Morning exercise on the drill ground. Ting Qingshan, who had just received the order from Ji Hong, stood in front of the barracks and said coldly, Centurions Du Hong and Ting Qinghu, each of you choose a small team of 10 men. Tomorrow morning, follow me to Chu County. According to the commander's order, he had to choose 2 centurions. Du Hong was the oldest and had the most experience. This time, with him, his cousin Qinghu could also gain some experience. Therefore, he chose these 2 centurions. Yes. Du Hong and Ting Qinghu bowed and accepted the order. Then, they immediately chose a small team of 10 men. I didn't expect that I would have to go out so soon after coming back. I didn't even have the time to see the recruitment. Although Ting Qingshan thought so, he was looking forward to it. Chu County was the northernmost part of Yangzhou. From Jiangning County to Chu County, it was a journey of 2,000 li. Because they had to escort the goods, it was considered good to be able to travel 200 li a day. Brother Qingshan, are you going to Chu County? Du Hong and Ting Qinghu walked over and said in a low voice, "Yes, we are going to help escort the goods." "Old Du, is there any danger along the way?" Ting Qingshan asked. "Hiring the Black Armored Corps to escort the goods is a big business. It is not a small problem. Moreover, from our Jiangning County to Chu County, the distance is almost 2,000 li. In the middle, we have to pass through the most chaotic Xuyang County. Along the way, we can't avoid danger." Du Hong frowned. Ting Qingshan looked to the north. Danger? Ting Qingshan was not afraid of any danger. Since coming to this world, he had always been in Jiangning County. Finally, he could have a good adventure. This time, I can take a good look at the strength of the experts in the world. Ting Qingshan was looking forward to it. In the Guiyuan sect, it was not easy for him to kill. But outside, he was the leader. When the time came, it would not be difficult for him to hide his true strength from these few people around him. Go and get ready. Have a good rest. We will set off tomorrow morning. This round trip will add up to 4,000 li. Ting Qingshan ordered. 3 chapters completed, the second day of the outbreak. Yesterday, we increased the monthly votes by more than 1,000 in one go. But now, we have been overtaken by a few hundred votes. Let's fight for Tomato's honor. If there are monthly votes, give them to Tomato. Please, everyone. Chapter 114. The morning wind was very cool. Ting Qingshan was leading more than 20 people on the road in the military camp. Zhuge Yun, Zhuge Qing, and Qingyu were sending them off. "Brother, it's almost 2,000 miles from here to Chu County. There are many dangers along the way, you have to be careful." Qingyu was beside Ting Qingshan, her eyes full of reluctance. Ting Qingshan smiled and touched Qingyu's head. "Little you don't trust your brother?" "My brother is the strongest." Qingyu immediately raised her chin and said confidently. Ting Qingshan was very happy to have a good adventure. As for his sister Little Yu, Qingyu had already joined the Guiyuan sect not long ago. It had to be admitted that Qingyu was very talented. She had only practiced inner strength for 7 days and her body had already produced inner strength. Although she could not be compared to those geniuses who could produce inner strength on the first day, Qingyu was after all 14 years old. "Little Yun, Miss Qingqing, when I go out this time, please take care of my sister." Ting Qingshan turned his head to look at the two. "Needless to say. But when you are outside, don't be careless. Xuyang County is the most chaotic county." Zhuge Yun also reminded. As they spoke, Ting Qingshan and the group had already arrived at the north gate of the Black Armored Corps camp. Through the north gate, Ting Qingshan could already see the carts of goods outside. At first glance, there seemed to be a lot of goods. There were already 8 carts. "Little you guys don't need to send us off," Ting Qingshan said. "Okay." Qingyu also looked at Ting Qinghu. "Cousin, listen to my brother on the road. Don't cause trouble." "Qingshan is the commandant, of course I have to listen." Ting Qinghu laughed. Zhuge Qing, who had been silent at the side, couldn't help but say, "Brother Qingshan, be careful on the road." Ting Qingshan glanced at her and nodded with a smile. Seeing this, Ting Qinghu grinned and turned to look outside. "Let's go out," Ting Qingshan ordered. His 2 centurions and 2 squads of soldiers led their war horses out of the gate. When he walked out, Ting Qingshan could see clearly that there were a total of 10 trucks parked here. There were also 2 spacious carriages with nearly 100 people gathered around them. Most of them wore armor that looked like snake scales. "Haha, this must be Ting Qingshan, Commandant Ting." A white-haired elder stepped forward and greeted. Ting Qingshan nodded. He glanced at the nearly 100 guards and said with a smile, "Your Zhu family is the wealthiest family in the world. Looks like my brothers will also have an easy time on the road. These are also some of my master's men. How can they compare to the Black Armored Corps?" The old man laughed. "This old man is Wu Tan. My master is over there." Ting Qingshan could already see a tall and sturdy man walking over with 2 guards behind him. Commandant Ting. The tall and sturdy man cupped his hands and said with a smile, I've only been in Jiangning County for a few days and I've already heard of Commandant Ting's name. The youngest and most promising commandant of the Black Armored Corps. I was originally thinking that it would be difficult to meet Commandant Ting. I didn't expect Uncle Zhuge to let Commandant Ting help me secure the goods this time. This also allows me to meet Commandant Ting in advance. I'm overjoyed. This must be 9th Master Zhu? Ting Qingshan knew the other party's identity. He was the 9th son of the wealthiest god of fortune, Zhu Tong, Zhu Chongshi. Why are you calling me 9th Master? If Commandant Ting thinks highly of me, just call me brother, Zhu Chongshi said with a smile. Ting Qingshan secretly praised the god of fortune, Zhu Tong, for educating his son. This Zhu Chongshi's laughter made people feel as if they were bathing in the spring breeze, making them feel comfortable. What Ting Qingshan hated the most were those who thought they were superior to others and ordered others around. As Ting Qingshan and Zhu Chongshi conversed, they addressed each other as brothers. Soon, the carriages moved forward. After exiting the city gates, the carriages moved slightly faster on the official road. Father, I want to ride a horse. Not long after, a little boy's head popped out of the carriage window and shouted at Zhu Chongshi, who was riding a horse. You haven't even learned how to ride a horse. Stay in the carriage with your mother. Zhu Chongshi yelled. The little boy stuck out his tongue and shrunk back into the carriage. Brother Zhu is dragging your family along this time? Ting Qingshan was slightly surprised as he asked Zhu Chongshi, who was riding alongside him. From here to Chu County, there will be unavoidable dangers along the way. Why don't you let your wife and children stay at home? Brother Qingshan, you don't know. Zhu Chongshi laughed. I'm dragging my family back from overseas. I can't possibly leave my family overseas. Of course I have to come back together. Overseas? Ting Qingshan was slightly surprised. Zhu Chongshi nodded but did not elaborate. Ting Qingshan knew that Zhu Chongshi had a secret, so he changed the topic and asked curiously, Brother Zhu, I have never been out to sea. What is there outside the East Sea? The East Sea is boundless. Zhu Chongshi sighed. Without going out to sea, you will never know how terrifying the sea is. There are many islands in the sea. Some islands are empty, while others have a large number of people. Some are barbaric and uncivilized. Of course, there are many citizens of the 9 prefectures who live there. Ting Qingshan nodded his head silently. Having been in the Guiyuan sect for so long, Ting Qingshan had gained some understanding of the geography of this world. The 9 prefectures were vast and had billions of citizens. To the west of the 9 prefectures was the desert. Occasionally, there were oases and many small countries in the western region. To the north was the vast grassland, and further north was the North Sea. To the east was the vast East Sea. To the south of the 9 prefectures, it was known as the Southern Wasteland, the Southern Barbarians, and the Barbarians. The boundless southern wasteland was filled with venomous snakes and ferocious beasts. It could be said to be a forbidden area for humans. That was because there were too many dangers there, and even some terrifying demonic beasts. However, it was said that many warriors pursued martial arts and went to the southern wasteland to cultivate. In the southern wasteland, there were many secret manuals and treasures left behind by dead warriors. However, the most prosperous and fertile land with the most experts and sects was still the 9 prefectures. Those small islands and small countries in the western region could not be compared to the experts of the 9 prefectures. The people who live on the islands are poor. Zhu Chongshi sighed. After drifting on the islands for so many years, I never want to go to the sea again. Brother Zhu, are you drifting on the islands for business? Ting Qingshan asked. Business is one of the reasons. The other reason is that I have wanted to travel the world since I was young. Zhu Chongshi sighed. I have been to the desert countries in the western region before I was 20. The Desolate is very close to Yangzhou. It is just south of Yangzhou. Actually, it is nothing much. There are all kinds of hills, trees that have grown for who knows how long, and all kinds of venomous snakes, insects, and beasts. I stayed at the outermost area of the Desolate for more than a month, and talked to some warriors who ventured in. After that, I did not go in again. Zhu Chongsher looked around and laughed. After traveling for so long, the 9 prefectures is still the most fertile land. Ting Qingshan had to admit. His prediction was too perfect. The speed of the convoy was even slower than he had imagined. Although the carriages were pulled by horses, the official road was made of dirt. There were too many small pits, pebbles, and clods of soil. The speed of the carriages was naturally very slow. A person would probably be able to catch up to the speed of the carriages. In a day, they would only advance about 120 li. The journey was arduous. Ting Qingshan and the rest passed through the boundaries of 2 counties. On the 11th day of their journey, Ting Qingshan and the rest finally entered the boundaries of Shuyang County. Whoosh whoosh. The sky was still fine before. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew and dark clouds covered the sky. Thunder boomed and a torrential downpour followed. The torrential downpour made the traveling convoy miserable. What a heavy rain! It would be great if there was a place to hide from the rain. Zhu Chongsher laughed bitterly. After the rain, the dirt road became muddy. Of course, the convoy's speed became slower. Moreover, it was uncomfortable to be hit by the rain. Clang! 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 When the raindrops hit the bodies of the black armored army's sergeants who were wearing heavy armors, they made a loud crashing sound. Qingshan. Ting Qinghu rode beside him. Haha, I told you to wear heavy armor but you didn't. Look, now you are all wet. Ting Qinghu and the rest wore heavy armor. Only their faces and hands were exposed. There were also neck guards on the inside of their necks, which blocked the rain completely. Ting Qingshan smiled. There were a total of 23 people in the black armored corps, including Ting Qingshan. The rest of them followed orders and wore full sets of heavy armor. Only Ting Qingshan wore inner armor, leg guards, and arm guards. To Ting Qingshan, the defense of this winter iron heavy armor could not even compare to his own body. Moreover, if he wore a full set of heavy armor, it would affect his agility and many other aspects. Brother Zhu, there is no place to hide from the rain. Let's just bear with it. The summer rain comes and goes quickly. But you should ask your men to be more vigilant. We are now entering the boundaries of Shuyang County. Shuyang County was an extremely chaotic county. There were many bandits there. I'm afraid the reputation of the Black Armored Corps would not be able to deter the crazy bandits of Shuyang County. Yes. Zhu Chongsher nodded solemnly. The Black Armored Corps could do whatever they wanted in Jiangning County. But in other counties, it depended on the number of people from the Black Armored Corps. If there were only a few people, they would not mind annihilating you all at once. As long as they were clean and did not leave behind any evidence, it would be fine. Ting Qingshan and the rest had guessed correctly. Not long after their convoy entered the boundaries of Shuyang County, news of them had already been received by a group of powerful bandits in Shuyang County. Make way, all of you make way. While cursing, a lean one-eyed man was running towards a house not far away from him. Fourth Master. The 2 men at the entrance of the house immediately greeted him with a smile. First Master, First Master. The skinny one-eyed man pushed open the door and shouted loudly, "There's a fat sheep, a big fat sheep." "What are you shouting for?" A loud shout rang out. A bare-chested bald man walked out of the central room. There were 2 hideous scars on his chest. At this moment, he looked at the skinny one-eyed man with dissatisfaction. "Fourth Master, you said there's a fat sheep? Just let your men do the normal work." "First Master, this is definitely a big deal. First Master, you have to make the decision." The skinny one-eyed man's eyes lit up. That caravan even hired the Gui Yuan sect's Black Armored Corps to protect the goods. The bald man's eyes lit up. Black armored corps? How many of them? Chapter 115. Our men saw it clearly. There are a total of 23 black armored corps soldiers. The skinny one-eyed man said. The great master rubbed his bald head and squinted his eyes. A smile slowly appeared on his face. Only 23? Hee. Our brothers can drown them with just a spit from each of us. However, to be able to hire the black armored corps, it must be a big deal. All right, tell me more about the caravan. The skinny one-eyed man laughed evilly. Great master, other than the black armored corps soldiers protecting the caravan, they also hired other guards. There are about 70 to 80 of them. As for the goods, there are a total of 10 carriages. Each carriage is filled to the brim with several boxes. At the same time, there are also 2 carriages. The people inside should be rich merchants and women with delicate skin. The great master fell silent. The skinny man knew that although his great master seemed crude, he was actually very meticulous. He was obviously thinking about how to deal with the caravan. After a long time, those 70 to 80 guards are easy to deal with. The brothers under my command can dispatch 500 archers. With 2 volleys of arrows, we will be able to annihilate those guards. The great master frowned and said, the most troublesome ones are the 23 men from the black armored army. Together with their horses, they are all wearing heavy armor. Swords and knives cannot harm them. To kill them, we will definitely lose many brothers. No matter how powerful they are, there are only 23 of them. We have plenty of ways to deal with them. The skinny one-eyed man said. The great master glanced at him. Of course I know. There are many ways to kill them. But remember, if we want to wipe out the black armored corps, we must kill every last one of them. We cannot let a single one slip through the net. If we let one slip through the net, they will know our faces and find out our identities. When the black armored corps comes for revenge, we will be in trouble. If they were all killed, the Gui Yuan sect would be thousands of miles away. It would be hard to find out who the murderer was. But if there were any that slipped through the net, it would be troublesome. The horses of the black armored corps are all good horses. Did you see the color of the horses' fur? The great master asked. Although the horses were wearing heavy armor, it was still impossible to protect them completely. For example, the ears and the legs, the tail of the horses. The color of the horses' fur could be seen from these. I didn't pay much attention at that time. The one-eyed man was a little embarrassed. He suddenly thought of something and said, "Oh, right. I remember that there were 2 horses with white hooves. Yes, that's easy to remember. It's the cyan mane treading on snow horse." The leader nodded. That's the war horse of the black armored corps' centurion. It seemed that there were at least 2 centurions this time. I wonder if there are any commandant-level officers here. So what if we have the commandant? He's just an acquired stage master, the one-eyed man said. What do you know? The great master shouted. Commandant himself is nothing, but his mount is the scarlet blood horse. With the scarlet blood horse's explosive speed, how can we stop the commandant if he wants to escape? Not to mention him, even the 2 azure mane treading on snow horses were galloping. Only my chasing wind can catch up. None of the others can catch up. The first master rubbed his bald head and instructed, "Call the second master and the rest over." "Boss, have you done it?" The one-eyed man's eyes lit up. Of course. With so many guards and the black armored corps, the goods must be worth at least a few 100,000 taels of silver. The great master's gaze was cold. Even with the scarlet blood horse, I won't let him leave alive. The sky was dark. The official road was filled with the neighing of horses and screams of pain. The 2 10-man squads of the black armored army rode on their war horses and transformed into 2 gusts of wind, crazily charging and killing among the bandits and mounted gangsters. The ice-cold tip of the spear pierced through the weak bodies of the bandits one by one. Once the black armored corps' war horses galloped, The soldiers only needed to borrow strength from the horses to easily pierce through the bodies of the mounted gangsters. Ting Qingshan, Du Hong, and Ting Qinghu rode on their war horses in the middle of the official road. Whenever a mounted gangster rushed over, the three of them would casually use their spears and kill the mounted gangster. These hundreds of mounted gangsters dared to rob us, they must be courting death. Du Hong sneered. I don't think everyone will be able to kill to their heart's content, Ting Qingshan said with a smile. As a commandant, Ting Qingshan was very clear about the fearsomeness of the Black Armored Corps' soldiers. Every cavalryman of the Black Armored Corps could be said to be a moving fortress. Regardless of whether it was the soldiers or the horses, they all wore heavy armor. Secondly, the ordinary soldiers' war horses were dark veins horses that were worth 1,000 taels of silver. In the mounted gangster groups, only the leaders of the groups could ride such horses. War horses were strong to begin with. Every Black Armored Corps soldier had the strength of more than 1,000 jin. Many of them also practiced the vigor of the reckless bull. In addition, with 10 men in a team, they could support each other. 10 men charging and killing could be said to be a meat grinder. The two small teams of 10 charged and killed several times. More than 100 mounted gangsters died, and the rest of the mounted gangsters fled in panic. Sir Commandant, the rest of the mounted gangsters have escaped. The two teams of 10 returned. The war horses and the cavalrymen's heavy armor were stained with fresh blood and minced meat. The air reeked of blood. They killed more than 100 enemies, and not a single one was injured. This was the Black Armored Corps, the most fearsome army of the Gui Yuan sect. Wash your armors. We will set off in a while, Ting Qingshan ordered. Yes. The Black Armored Corps soldiers began to wash their heavy armors. Those mounted gangsters dared to provoke us. They really don't know how to write the word death. I only killed 11 mounted gangsters. My body had just recovered, and I haven't had the time to enjoy myself, but they already escape. Don't be so proud. I only killed 6. You were the one who charged at the front. That's taking advantage of you. There was a lot of discussion. No one cared about the battle just now. The other guards of the convoy were secretly shocked. The Black Armored Corps' powerful martial power made them fearful. Brother Ting Qingshan. Zhu Chongsher smiled as he walked over. I think those mounted gangsters thought that you were ordinary heavy cavalry. They didn't recognize that you were from the Black Armored Corps. Haha, if they recognized you, how would they dare to rob us with such a small number of people? Ting Qingshan nodded. Shuyang County is more than 1,000 li away from our Jiangning County. It's not surprising that these inexperienced mounted gangsters didn't know that we are from the Black Armored Corps. Oh yes, Brother Zhu, the sky is getting dark. We should hurry up. Shuyang County's Fanwu City is just ahead. Today we will be able to stay in a good inn in the city. Haha, these few days in the wilderness, it's hard for me to take a bath. It's summer and I'm covered in sweat. Let's take a good bath today. Zhu Chongsher laughed. Usually, there was a distance of 200 to 300 li between cities. Some were even further. This convoy could only travel about 100 li a day. Naturally, they would spend most of their time in the wilderness. Of course, on this official road, there would occasionally be 1 or 2 inns by the roadside. However, the conditions of the inns in the wilderness were very poor. After a comfortable night in the city and breakfast, the convoy continued to move forward. Old Master, according to the map, the Bloodstone Slope is 5 li ahead. The distance between the top and bottom of the Bloodstone Slope is almost 2 zhang. If there is a large group of mounted gangsters hiding at the bottom of the slope, we won't be able to see them. This is a place where the mounted gangsters often lie in ambush. We have to be careful. Old Wu reminded. A guard beside him laughed. Old Wu, don't worry. Everyone knows that the mounted gangsters often lie in ambush at this place and are prepared. Even if there are mounted gangsters plotting against us, they wouldn't choose this place. What's real is fake, what's fake is real. Zhu Chongsher glanced at the guard beside him. Since the mounted gangsters often lie in ambush at this bloodstone slope, it means that this place is very suitable for ambushes. Since it's suitable for ambushes, the mounted gangsters would definitely choose it. Zhu Chongsher looked at Ting Qingshan beside him and shouted, "Brother Qingshan, there's still 5 li before we reach the bloodstone slope. We have to be careful." "Brother Zhu, don't worry. With us in front, even if there are mounted gangsters, we will drive them away." Ting Qingshan laughed. At the bottom of the bloodstone slope, a large group of bandits and mounted gangsters had gathered. What was unique was that only a portion of the mounted gangsters were riding horses. "When they arrive, just follow my instructions, understand?" The great master looked at the few people around him. "Don't worry, big brother, we have so many people. Moreover, big brother's plan is flawless. Haha, they won't be able to escape." The other great masters laughed. "We have 3,000 brothers here. We can bury them with just manpower." "Bury them with manpower? Are our brothers' lives not worth anything?" The great master berated. "Remember, you have to learn to use your brains." This great master was certain that there was no problem with his plan. "Get all the brothers to quiet down. Don't make a sound," the great master ordered. Ting Qingshan rode his horse and walked at the front. The bloodstone slope was just 1 li away. Ting Qingshan's ears twitched. Ting Qingshan's body, be it his bones, organs, 6 senses, etc., had reached the pinnacle of the human body. There were 3,000 people gathered at the bottom of the bloodstone slope. Even if the 3,000 mounted gangsters were obedient and silent, they would still make a lot of noise. "There are people, and a lot of them." Ting Qingshan's ears picked up the sound. "Stop." Ting Qingshan raised his hand and the carriages stopped. "Brother Qingshan, what's the matter?" Zhu Chongsher walked over. If the 3,000 people were silent, how could an ordinary person hear them? "Brother Zhu, there are indeed mounted gangsters hiding at the bottom of the bloodstone slope. In fact, there are many of them. I cannot confirm their numbers. But, for safety reasons, let's take a detour," Ting Qingshan said. "Detour?" Zhu Chongsher frowned. If they were to take a detour, they would have to walk an additional 300 li. This was equivalent to taking 3 days. "If there are too many mounted gangsters, we will not be able to protect you when we kill the enemy," Ting Qingshan said. At this moment, they could not send anyone to investigate because it was 1 li away. If they were to turn around and leave by themselves, the other party might not have discovered them. But if they were to investigate, they would definitely discover their tracks. Zhu Chongsher looked back at the carriage and nodded. "All right, let's take a detour." At Zhu Chongsher's command, everyone in the carriages obeyed and turned around to take a detour. But the mounted gangsters had been watching Ting Qingshan and the rest for a long time. Along the way, there were many people monitoring them and following them. Swoosh! A whistling arrow rose into the sky. "Haha, everyone, stay behind." A loud laughter came from afar, sounding like thunder in the air. A large number of men and horses appeared at the bottom of the bloodstone slope. "Don't run. On the other side, there are 2,000 of my brothers waiting for you. You have nowhere to run." Chapter 116. Don't listen to the bragging of those bandits. "Everyone, let's shake them off," Zhu Chongsher shouted. Immediately, the grooms whipped their horses, urging them to speed up. The wagons jolted violently. Fortunately, the boxes had been secured to the wagons with rope. Both the wagons and the horse carriages sped up. This was the time to run for their lives. No one hesitated. On the other hand, the sergeants of the black armored army brought up the rear, preventing the horse bandits from pursuing them. "There are 2,000 bandits 10 miles away?" Du Hong gasped. "Qingshan, it's hard to tell if it's true." Ting Qingshan sighed as he looked at the speed of the wagons and horse carriages. The wagons ran with all their might, but their speed was still so slow that Ting Qingshan felt helpless. If there were only the black armored corps here, they would have left in a gust of wind. But with the wagons, it would be troublesome. Haha, you still don't believe me? You won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. Alright, I will chase you slowly now. I will let you see for yourselves whether it's true or not. The voice reverberated in the air. To be able to transmit his voice so far, there was no doubt that the person was an expert with strong inner strength. Ting Qingshan turned to look. Indeed, the bandits were running slowly. With the wagon's pathetic speed, the bandits would be able to catch up quickly. Looks like there really is an ambush. Ting Qingshan frowned. This is going to be troublesome. Du Hong began to worry. The fewer of our brothers who die, the better. The great master rode on his warhorse and chased slowly from behind. He led 3,000 brothers, but only 1,000 bandits had warhorses. Because of the slow speed of the chase, the two mounted gangsters shared the same horse. This allowed 2,000 bandits to catch up, leaving another 1,000 behind. When the two sides close, they will not be able to escape. The great master laughed proudly. The carriages ran for their lives, but after a while, everyone's expression changed. Rumble, the violent shaking of the ground came from the front. There really is an ambush, and there are a lot of people. Zhu Chongshi looked into the distance. From afar, a dense mass of shadows was rapidly approaching. Even from such a distance, he could feel the tremors in that direction. From this, one could imagine how astonishing the number of mounted bandits was. Zhu Chongshi looked ahead, then turned back to look. Behind them, the leader was leading the army and following leisurely. These bandits from Shuyang County actually dared to touch the goods protected by the black armored corps. Zhu Chongshi was filled with hatred. This batch of goods was extremely important to him. He thought for a long time and decided to invite the black armored corps. From Zhu Chongshi's point of view, the weak bandits were simply slaughtered by the black armored corps. As for the powerful bandits, they should know about the black armored corps. They understood that once they touched the goods protected by the black armored corps, they would face the retaliation of the black armored corps. Zhu Chongshi believed that the powerful bandits would have some reservations and would not make a move. But Zhu Chongshi had forgotten. What the bandits did was to put their lives on the line. Each of them dared to take risk. Perhaps some of the powerful bandits would have reservations about the black armored corps and would not make a move. But Shuyang County was one of the two most chaotic counties in Yangzhou, and the bandits were the most rampant. It was normal for a crazy bandit group to appear. Kill them all. How would the Guiyuan sect know who killed them? The leader laughed coldly as he watched the scene. In the distance, the carriages had stopped. There were bandits on both sides of the official road. As for the side of the official road, it was farmland. The farmland was so muddy that a person would sink if they stepped on it. Whether it was a warhorse or a carriage, it would be difficult to move forward once it entered. If the bandits were to swarm in, there would be nowhere to escape. Haha! I am a person who follows the rules. As long as you leave all the goods and gold behind, I will let you live. I will let you live. The great master's voice reverberated in the air. Hero, even if I gave you the goods, you wouldn't be able to use them. Zhu Chongshi laughed loudly. How about this? I offer you 100,000 taels of silver. Hero, let us leave with the goods, this way, we won't hurt each other. After all, once we start fighting, it wouldn't be worth it if too many people died. Now, Hero, if you don't die, you will get 100,000 taels of silver. Isn't that better? On the side of the bandit. Big brother, that person is right. If we ask for more money, we won't have to die. Someone at the side looked at the leader. The leader glanced at him and scolded, Third brother, your brain is filled with shit. The leader then said loudly, I said, give me the goods and all the gold and silver, and I will let you live. At this moment, this must be the leader of the gang. Ting Qingshan, who was riding on the scarlet horse, said coldly, Don't try to mislead us. You want us to leave the goods and gold and silver? I'm afraid that even if we agree, you will take advantage of the time when we are collecting the goods to kill us. The leader's expression changed. That was indeed what he was thinking. Because anyone who dared to rob the goods and gold that the Black Armored Corps was escorting would not let the Black Armored Corps live. All of them had to be killed. Otherwise, if the Black Armored Corps came to take revenge, it would be disastrous. Listen to me. Riding on the scarlet horse, Ting Qingshan scolded coldly, no one has the right to rob the goods that are under the protection of the Black Armored Corps. You are also blinded by lard. How dare you rob the goods that are under the protection of the Black Armored Corps? I am the commandant of the 3rd Battalion of the 1st Battalion of the Black Armored Corps of the Guiyuan sect. I'll say it here today. If you dare to snatch our goods, then, your sect will be reduced to ashes within half a month. The leader was stunned. Ting Qingshan sneered, don't even think of silencing me. If I want to escape, you can't stop me. If you know what's good for you, give way and let us leave. Otherwise, the army of the Black Armored Corps will come and flatten your gang. Every word of Ting Qingshan was filled with inner strength. His voice reverberated in the sky. The thousands of mounted gangsters heard it clearly. All the mounted gangsters were flustered. Including the leader, he felt fear in his heart. Brothers, we are living on the edge of a knife. What are you afraid of? If we lose our heads, we'll have a bowl-sized scar. The leader roared, his face ferocious. Motherf *Ker, we have 5,000 brothers here. If we let them leave alive, what face do we have left? We might as well kill ourselves. That's right, we have 5,000 good men. What are we afraid of? Motherf *Ker, those who dare to retreat are cowards. The howls caused the eyes of the mounted gangsters to turn red. The mounted gangsters had always lived on the edge of a knife. They hated it when people said that they were cowards. Moreover, they had 5,000 men. What was there to be afraid of? Archers shoot! The great master suddenly shouted. Ting Qingshan and the rest's expressions changed. Zhu Chongsher shouted, protect the carriage. Immediately, more than half of the guards surrounding the carriage held their giant square shields and surrounded it. Using the shields, they completely protected the carriage. Swoosh! 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 On both sides of the mounted gangsters, dozens of archers lined up in a row. Some of the archers had already lined up in the fields. The archers on both sides shot arrows wildly. The arrows fell like rain, attacking in a frenzy. The Black Armored Corps soldiers covered their helmets and lowered their heads. The arrows hit their bodies, but they were unharmed. On the other hand, Ting Qingshan had to work harder. He rode his horse to the side of the carriage and used the carriage to block the arrows behind him. He used his spear to block the arrows in front of him. Actually, even if the arrow hit Ting Qingshan, it would still be fine. Perhaps it wouldn't even be able to pierce through Ting Qingshan's skin. However, Ting Qingshan did not want to expose his secret. Kill! Ting Qingshan ordered. Kill! The two 10-man teams charged forward once more. Even if they were to face an army of thousands, the Black Armored Corps would not have the slightest fear. Bang! 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 A heavy sound rang out as a metal object appeared in front of the horse bandit. It was half a meter tall, and its sharp spikes were pointed at the war horses that were running over. Repelling horse stake. Ting Qingshan's expression changed. There were a large number of checkpoints, and there were many layers in front and behind them. Even if the Black Armored Corps broke through the first layer, they would still be blocked from the back. He couldn't charge at all. The result would only be that the other party would swarm up and take the knight off the horse. At that time, it would be over. Stop! Ting Qingshan shouted. Haha, playing with warhorses? Haha, with these checkpoints, let's see how you're going to charge. The great master laughed. Brothers, kill! Instantly, many of the horse bandits jumped off their horses and charged forward. The checkpoints prevented the warhorses from charging, but it did not affect the running of humans much. Brother Qingshan, what do we do now? Zhu Chongshi panicked. He was not satisfied. He had been drifting overseas for the past few years. He was not satisfied that his goods had been snatched away. Everyone, retreat and protect Ninth Master Zhu. Ting Qingshan said coldly. Yes. The black armored corps soldiers responded, but they looked at Ting Qingshan in confusion. What was Ting Qingshan trying to do? Rumble. At this moment, a large number of horse bandits surged forward like a tidal wave. Behind them, a large number of horse bandits also surged forward. Whoosh! Ting Qingshan leapt up from his warhorse and shot forward like an arrow. After he landed on the ground, he strode towards the direction of the mounted gangsters. Haha! Fighting against my army alone? He thinks he is an innate expert. Brothers, kill him! Kill him! The great master laughed. Facing the horse bandits that surged forward like a tidal wave, Ting Qingshan went forward alone. Kill! The horse bandits brandished their swords and spears ferociously as they charged towards Ting Qingshan. Ting Qingshan's gaze was cold as he stared at the great master. The spear in his hand finally moved. When he was 10 years old, a large number of wild wolves could not even harm a hair on Ting Qingshan. Now, these horse bandits wanted to kill Ting Qingshan? Spear technique, transmutation unity law. Pooh! 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 The horse bandits in front of Ting Qingshan were all covered in blood as they were thrown away. The numerous horse bandits were like a tidal wave, and Ting Qingshan was like a warship breaking through the waves. Unstoppable! Kill him! Quick, go, kill him! The great master was shocked. Metal chains, trap him! Boom! When Ting Qingshan charged forward, he was like a hedgehog with spear tips all over his body. Anyone that was hit by him would be sent flying with holes in their body. No one could stop Ting Qingshan's advance. Quick, stop him and kill him! The great master already wanted to retreat. At the same time, the elite experts beside him had already waved their metal chains. Die! Ting Qingshan suddenly roared. His voice was like a spring thunder. His speed suddenly increased, and he actually leaped up. Leaped up! The eyes of the elite horse bandits lit up as they immediately threw out the metal chains in their hand. Swish! 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 3 flying daggers killed 4 elite horse bandit. One of the flying daggers pierced through 2 people at the same time. Those few horse bandits' eyes were filled with fear. However, they were already dead. Ting Qingshan stepped on the head of a mounted bandit, and like a gust of wind, he charged towards the great master. Die! The long saber in the great master's hand slashed towards Ting Qingshan, who was in midair. Humph! Ting Qingshan shook the long spear in his hand violently. The long spear was like a wheel of wind and fire, violently smashing over 10 horse bandits within a 2-zhang radius into the air. That included the great master. When the great master was sent flying, he still couldn't believe it. I am also a post-liminary pinnacle expert. This. The web between his thumb and forefinger had already split open. He fell heavily to the ground, still in disbelief. Phew! Ting Qingshan's body moved like a phantom. Ting Qingshan reached out and grabbed the great master's throat, lifting him up. Stop! Ting Qingshan's roar reverberated between heaven and earth. His cold gaze swept across the surroundings. The horse bandits were completely stunned. Even the black armored corps soldiers, the guards of the carriages, Zhu Chongshi and the rest looked at this scene in shock. All the horse bandits put down their weapons and stared blankly at this scene. Ting Qingshan stared at the great master who was suspended in the air and said coldly, I have said before, your men can't stop me. The great master wanted to say something, but he couldn't speak clearly as he grabbed his throat. In the history of Ting Qingshan's previous world, there were many examples of a general being killed amidst thousands of soldiers and horses. And today, Ting Qingshan had displayed this skill. With his current spear skills, these horse bandits couldn't even stop him in his track. But in order to protect Zhu Chongshi and the rest, Ting Qingshan then decided to use a thunderous method to capture the enemy's leader first. To capture the bandits, first capture the leader. Ting Qingshan threw the Great Master to the side. The Great Master took 2 to 3 steps back before he could regain his balance. The Great Master looked at Ting Qingshan in fear. He didn't understand why was there such a huge disparity between them. Were the experts of the Guiyuan sect so powerful? Lord Commandant, Lord Commandant. The Great Master gulped and said, "We have overestimated ourselves. I will let my men leave immediately. I will definitely not stop Lord Commandant." Whether it was Ting Qingshan's spear skills or the flying dagger technique that killed 4 of his elite subordinates in an instant, they all terrified him. "Yes, let's retreat. We will leave now." The second master and the rest, who were not far away, said in fear, "Everyone, step aside. Let Lord Commandant and his men leave." The Great Master roared. Immediately, the horse bandits opened up a wide path. Ting Qingshan stared at the Great Master with a cold gaze. "Oh, so you are sending us off just like that? Robbing the goods under the protection of the Black Armored Corps is a crime punishable by death. You want to let it go just like that? P.S. On the 3rd day of the outbreak, 3 pictures completed. Chapter 117. In the hot summer of June, the sun was scorching hot in the morning. Being stared at by Ting Qingshan, beads of sweat appeared on the Great Master's forehead. It wasn't because of the hot weather, but because of his fear. After a short fight, the Great Master was very clear about how terrifying an expert the Commandant of the Black Armored Corps was. "Lord Commandant, what do you want? Just say it." Ting Qingshan stretched out his hand and spread his fingers. 50,000 taels of silver? The Great Master stammered. 50,000 taels of silver? You look down on your life. Ting Qingshan stared at him and said indifferently, 500,000 taels of silver. If you take out 500,000 taels of silver now, I will spare your life. If not. Ting Qingshan raised the tip of his reincarnation spear and pointed it at the Great Master's face. The Great Master felt a chill when the spear was pointed at him. "Lord Commandant, 500,000 taels of silver. I can. The Great Master hastily responded. 500,000 taels of silver was a huge sum. However, the Great Master didn't dare to hesitate. Ting Qingshan didn't ask for this sum of silver to extort. Not long after we entered Shuyang County, our caravan encountered such a powerful gang of mounted bandits. Shuyang County is vast and full of resources. It will take at least 6 to 7 days to leave the boundaries of Shuyang County. If we don't punish this gang severely today, once the news gets out, other mounted bandits will probably think that even if the robbery fails, they won't be punished. They must be punished. Without punishment, it wouldn't be enough to intimidate other mounted bandits. They must be fearful. However, Lord Commandant, I can't take out so much silver right now. I can't bring so much silver with me when I leave. Why don't you wait for a while? I will personally go back and bring the silver over." The Great Master spoke very softly, afraid that he would make Ting Qingshan unhappy. Ting Qingshan's face turned cold. "You want to leave?" The Great Master's heart trembled, and he hastily said, No, I will let my second brother go back and get it." "Cut the crap," Ting Qingshan said coldly. "I don't have time to wait here for you to get your money. Who knows how long it will take for your people to come and go. I'll give you 10 minutes to take out 500,000 taels of silver. If you are short of 100,000 taels, I will break both of your arms. If you are short of 200,000 taels, I will break both your arms and legs. If you're short of 300,000 taels of silver, then you won't be able to see the sunset today." The great leader's face instantly turned pale and his legs turned soft from fear. "Sir Commandant, I can't take out that much silver now. 10 minutes is too short." The great master was so anxious that he was about to cry. With a cold laugh, Ting Qingshan said, "Whether it's silver, gold, or banknotes, they are all useless. Even expensive weapons and treasures could be used to offset the price. I'll give you the time it takes to brew a cup of tea to gather 500,000 taels of silver. Don't give me those warhorses and scrap metal. I don't have anywhere to put it. Remember, you only have the time it takes to brew a cup of tea." Ting Qingshan's words caused the great master to sweat profusely. He hastily took out a stack of banknotes from his bosom and said, I have 1,000 taels of banknotes here." These banknotes represented 1,000 taels of gold, which was worth 100,000 taels of silver. "My blood-imbibing saber. I spent over 100,000 taels of silver to forge it." The great master hastily sheathed his saber and placed it on the ground. Ting Qingshan coldly glanced at the blood-imbibing saber and said, "This saber is valued at 100,000 taels of silver." Yes, the great master hastily responded. At the same time, he carefully thought about where he could gather more silver. He was so anxious that he was sweating profusely. To warriors, weapons, armors, and warhorses were all extremely expensive. For example, Ting Qingshan's reincarnation spear used 100 jin of star-patterned steel, which was worth 100,000 taels of silver. The spearhead was forged from purple radiant cold iron. The piece of purple radiant cold iron used to forge the spearhead was the bigger one among the 2 pieces of cold iron that Ting Qingshan had previously taken out. It was worth nearly 200,000 taels of silver. In other words, Ting Qingshan's reincarnation spear was worth nearly 300,000 taels of silver. The soldiers of the Black Armored Corps were originally stunned, but now they couldn't help but smile. Lord Commandant is really powerful. That large group of mounted gangsters couldn't even hurt Lord Commandant. When Lord Commandant brandished that long spear just now, he was like a ferocious tiger descending the mountain. Those mounted gangsters were all sent flying. 500,000 taels of silver. Lord Commandant is really ruthless. The soldiers clicked their tongues in admiration. They felt honored to be able to follow such a powerful commandant. In the carriage, Zhu Chongsher's family members stretched out their heads to look outside. "Father, can Uncle Ting defeat so many mounted gangsters by himself? Is Uncle Ting as powerful as you, father?" The young boy blinked his big eyes as he looked at Ting Qingshan in the distance. His eyes were filled with admiration. Children worshipped heroes the most. Moreover, Ting Qingshan was able to easily slaughter and capture the leader of the mounted gangsters amidst the torrent of mounted gangsters. Even Zhu Chongsher himself felt respect for such method. "Your Uncle Ting is much more powerful than your father." Zhu Chongsher smiled as he patted his eldest son's head. "In the future, you must also practice martial arts diligently and become a hero like your Uncle Ting." "Yes." The boy nodded. "Father, I also want to practice martial arts." Another child interrupted. "I want one too." A girl with a ponytail chimed in. "Ha ha." Zhu Chongsher couldn't help but laugh. "All right, all of you will learn, all of you will learn." Zhu Tong had set a rule that all descendants of the family, regardless of gender, had to cultivate inner strength and practice martial arts. If one's aptitude wasn't good enough, they wouldn't be able to cultivate inner strength. That was another way of saying it. "Father, what is Uncle Ting doing now?" Zhu Chongsher's daughter asked. Zhu Chongsher watched as Ting Qingshan extorted the great master from afar. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "He is earning money." The 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl, all had an expression of sudden realization. The carriages were in a relaxed mood as they chatted cheerfully. However, the mounted gangsters were in a mess. The ordinary mounted gangsters were terrified. In just a short while, Ting Qingshan had killed over 200 mounted gangsters. The 4 most elite mounted gangsters by the Great Master's side had also died without even being able to retaliate. Terror. The Great Master was the most terrified. Hurry up, the time it takes to brew a cup of tea is almost up. Ting Qingshan said coldly, the things here are only worth 330,000 taels of silver. Even the banknotes and weapons of the second master and the third master had been brought over, but it was still not enough. The Great Master was so anxious that he was sweating profusely. Suddenly, he thought of something and roared to the people around him, Second brother, bring your scenic jade Buddha over. Hurry up. Big brother, this is my ancestral inheritance. The second master was anxious. Go F** King die. Ancestral inheritance my ass, hurry up and bring it over. The Great Master roared fiercely, his expression ferocious. At this point, if the second master dared to talk nonsense, the Great Master would definitely dare to kill him. The second master unwillingly took out a carved jade Buddha from his neck. This small jade Buddha actually faintly reflected colorful light. Ting Qingshan's eyes lit up. Big brother! The second master reluctantly handed over the scenic jade Buddha. Don't talk nonsense. As long as I'm alive, what can't I get in the future? The Great Master snatched it away, then squeezed out a smile and looked at Ting Qingshan. Lord Commandant, this scenic jade Buddha? But it came from the western region and is definitely a rare treasure. It is hard to buy even with silver. This thing is worth at least 100,000 taels of silver. Ting Qingshan said indifferently, scenic jade Buddha is valued at 100,000 taels of silver. Adding it up, it is only 430,000 taels of silver. You still lack 70,000 taels of silver. It's about the time it takes to brew a cup of tea. If you can't take it out, I will break both your arms. The Great Master's expression changed greatly. Who has more treasures? Valuable treasures? Who has more? The Great Master roared at the surroundings. The surroundings were silent. Even if someone had it, they wouldn't be willing to take it out. That's all? I will break both your arms as a lesson to you. As Ting Qingshan spoke, he waved his reincarnation spear. The tip of the spear was diamond-shaped and there were sharp blades on both sides. It could easily cut off a person's arms. No, no. The Great Master hastily shouted, I still have more. As he spoke, the Great Master took off his outer clothes. He was actually wearing a golden vest. He was reluctant to take off this golden vest and handed it to the ground. He hastily said, Lord Commandant, this vest of mine is completely made from the silk of the golden silkworm in the desolate south. This silk is even more precious than purple gold. This vest is warm in winter and cool in summer. Moreover, its defense is comparable to those heavy armors. This golden silk vest can't be sold at all. Ting Qingshan's eyes brightened. He stretched out his hand to pick up the vest. This vest was very light. The dark steel inner armor he was wearing weighed several tens of jin. This golden silk vest was estimated to weigh about 1 jin. What a treasure! For those warriors whose physical strength was only about 1,000 jin, it was indeed inconvenient to wear heavy armors. Therefore, this golden silk vest was definitely a treasure that warriors desired. Its price was definitely more expensive than the blood-imbibing saber. Of course, for a freak like Ting Qingshan, there wasn't much difference between wearing a dark steel inner armor that weighed several tens of jin and a golden silk vest that weighed 1 jin. Originally, the Great Master didn't want to take this treasure out. After all, money was easy to earn, but treasures were hard to buy. Since you have gathered enough, I will spare your life. Ting Qingshan directly put the gold notes, silver notes, and scenic jade Buddha into his bosom. As for the other things, he held them in his hand. Lord Commandant, my golden silk vest is worth at least 200,000 taels of silver. How about my blood-imbibing saber? Before the great master could finish his sentence, Ting Qingshan looked at him coldly. The great master was so scared that he didn't dare to say another word. Ting Qingshan grabbed 2 long sabers, a millennium cold steel bow, and a golden silk vest. In his bosom, he carried over 100,000 taels of gold and silver notes, as well as a piece of engraved jade Buddha. Ting Qingshan walked towards his own caravan. At the same time, he indifferently shouted, "Why aren't you telling your men to get away from me? Quick, get out of my way, get out of my way!" The great master shouted. On the side of the team, everyone looked at Ting Qingshan with a trace of respect. In this world, the strong would be respected. Brother Ting Qingshan. Zhu Chongshi nodded and smiled at Ting Qingshan. He scanned the surroundings and immediately instructed, "Keep your shields properly. Hurry up, get on your horses and set off." With this command, the group of carriages set off in a grandiose manner. Chapter 118. The bandits made way for the carriages to leave. No one dared to stop them. This time, their first master, who could be considered a reputable figure in Shuyang County, had lost a lot of face. The great leader had given strict orders not to spread what had happened today. However, there were 5,000 bandits around today, and all of them were addicted to alcohol. How could they not spread the news? Good news was hard to spread, but bad news spread far and wide. The top gang of Fanwu City in Shuyang County, the Wushan Gang, had 5,000 bandits. Instead of robbing them, they were robbed of treasures worth millions of taels of silver. This news spread like the wind to all the major forces in Shuyang County. The Wushan Gang could send out 5,000 bandits for a single robbery. One could imagine how strong they were. In terms of real strength, they were even stronger than the White Horse Gang in Ting Qingshan's hometown, E-City. However, they had suffered a huge loss this time. Many of those treasures were priced at a low price. Their true value was around 700,000 to 800,000 taels of silver. However, the more rumors spread, the more exaggerated they became. Shuyang County was in chaos. The Wushan Gang could establish themselves and have such a huge force. It was not that the Wushan Gang was weak, but that Ting Qingshan was too ruthless. Even an army of thousands of men and horses couldn't stop Ting Qingshan. It was as easy as taking something out of his pocket to capture the leader. Because of the Wushan Gang's failure, coupled with the reputation of the Black Armored Corps, the major gangs and sects in Shuyang County did not dare to rob them. The carriages moved slowly on the official road. 70 to 80 cavalry guards and 20 Black Armored Corps soldiers guarded the goods as they moved forward. Along the way, no bandits dared to rob them. "Sir Commandant, I heard that Shuyang County is in chaos. Sir Commandant showed his might last time, and we have not encountered a single robbery in the past 2 days," Du Hong said with a smile. "Haha, if they come again, Qingshan will extort another sum of money," Ting Qinghu laughed. Ever since Ting Qingshan had made his move last time and displayed his astonishing strength, Ting Qingshan's status in the team had become even higher. At that time, Ting Qingshan had obtained a total of 130,000 taels of gold and silver notes. Although the bright jade Buddha, the bow, the saber, and the vest made of golden silk were more precious, they could not be exchanged for silver for the time being. The sergeants of the Black Armored Corps were very envious, but they had never thought of getting a share of the silver. After all, this was obtained by Ting Qingshan with his own strength. In the Black Armored Corps, if a Black Armored Corps unit wiped out a group of bandits, even if the officer did not contribute, the officer would still get the majority of the gold and silver. Moreover, in this battle, not a single one of the Black Armored Corps soldiers had contributed. However, Ting Qingshan still got some money. 2 centurions, 10,000 taels of silver each. The 20 soldiers, including the corporal, were paid 1,000 taels of silver each. This sum of money was more than everyone's monthly salary for a year. With their wallets bulging, the black armored corps soldiers naturally supported Ting Qingshan even more. As for the 70 to 80 guards of the convoy who were envious, Ting Qingshan could not be bothered to share a single tael of silver. This was the benefit of being in the black armored corps. To increase the sense of superiority of the black armored corps. This way they will have a stronger sense of belonging. Ting Qingshan understood this very well. He glanced at the horse carriage. At this moment, Zhu Chongshi was already staying in the carriage, accompanying his 3 children. Thinking of his children, Ting Qingshan could not help but feel his heart ache. He still remembered that memory from his past life. Wolf, when we leave the organization, we must have a pair of children, a boy and a girl. All right. When the time comes, we will let them learn how to draw, learn how to play the piano and live a normal life. We will not let them learn how to kill. This kind of life. I am really tired of it. Soon, we will leave the organization. We will, kitten. Kitten. Ting Qingshan still remembered his wife from his past life. She looked like a cold machine, but she was very gentle when they were together. She was the only woman he had ever truly loved. According to his original plan, he would be able to leave the organization when he broke through to SS rank. He would have children with Kitten. Unfortunately, Kitten was dead. When Kitten died, he took revenge on the Red Organization in a frenzy. Only then did he comprehend the mournful blade. He then devoted himself to martial arts and finally stepped into the realm of Grandmaster. Unfortunately, it was all too late. Kitten, Ting Qingshan mumbled. He shook his head and tried hard to hide this love from his past life in the deepest part of his heart. Ting Qingshan deliberately made himself forget everything. After all, this was his new life. Only occasionally he would be touched and think about it. In this life, I have parents, a sister, and clansmen. I am already very satisfied. Ting Qingshan's state of mind quickly calmed down. Let's pursue the pinnacle of martial arts. The legendary emperor Yu could split a tall mountain with 5 strikes of his axe. The heavenly emperor of Qin Mountains could stop the flow of 100 zhang-wide river with 1 palm. I am still too far away from them. The path of martial arts is long and bumpy. It is worth my life to explore it. Ting Qingshan's heart was as firm as a rock. The wheels of the carriage rolled with creaking sounds. In the spacious carriage, there was only Zhu Chongshi and his 2 wives. As for the children, they were in the carriage behind with the servants. Master, a beautiful woman dressed in green said uneasily. We have been in Shuyang County for 4 days. I estimate that we will be able to leave in 2 or 3 days. Once we reach Chu County, we will be safe. But, Master's brothers, will they not do anything? Big sister is right. I am also a little afraid. The other beautiful woman dressed in purple said. Zhu Chongshi leaned against them and ate fruit. He laughed and said, "Haha, you 2 women, don't worry. We just returned from overseas. We directly entered Jiangning County City from the East Sea. We only stayed for a few days? Then we immediately rushed to Chu County. My brothers are the same as me, developing on their own. It takes a long time to gather information. I am afraid that even now, only 2 or 3 of my brothers know that I have returned." Jiangning County City was a city by the sea. This was also the reason why Zhu Chongshi stayed in Jiangning County City. Master, what will happen if they know? The beautiful woman dressed in green asked anxiously. Didn't you already guess? Zhu Chongshi said, They won't dare to kill me and the children. After all, we are descendants of the Zhu clan. What my father hates the most is fratricide between his own children. Once they do that, with my father's information network, he will definitely know everything. At that time, my father will not let the person who killed his brothers become the patriarch. He will even be deprived of his family property and chased out of the Zhu clan. The 2 women heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, their father-in-law, who was known as the god of wealth, was a great deterrent. They won't dare to kill me and the children, but they will still dare to destroy or rob my goods. Zhu Chongshi frowned. If the goods are robbed, I will only have a 20% chance of becoming the patriarch when the 10 years are up. His two wives also understood the importance of the goods. Their husbands had been overseas for several years just for the sake of these goods. With these goods, I will have at least a 90% chance of becoming the patriarch when the 10 years are up. Zhu Chongshi smiled confidently. Of the 13 counties in Yangzhou, the south was the wealthiest while the north was the poorest. However, even the poorest Chu County was considered one of the wealthiest counties in the entire 9 prefectures. On the official road in the north, there were few people, and it was rare to find an inn. On the official road, there were very few inns in the wilderness. This was because an inn would be easily robbed by bandits if it was all alone. Anyone who could open an inn in the wilderness must have a strong background and strength. Sanshi Inn. This was an inn on the official road in the north of Shuyang County. There was no other inn within 60 li to the south or north of it. In a room in the backyard of the Sanshi Inn, Elder Meng, a man wearing a yellow short-sleeved shirt, walked into the room and said, "Ninth Master Zhu's men are only 50 li away from us. However, it's already afternoon now. I don't think they will be able to reach our inn by nightfall. Perhaps they will spend the night in the wilderness. When that time comes, won't old master's plan come true?" In the room, there was a middle-aged man with extremely thick eyebrows. He was wiping a long and narrow saber that was slightly curved. The saber itself was blood-red in color. "Humph, what are you worried about?" The middle-aged man snorted. "The Sanshi Inn is definitely on the map. Ninth young master is just staying overseas for a few years. However, he is still a young master of a wealthy family. Even if he has to travel a few li before nightfall, it's normal for him to reach us. Even if ninth young master doesn't come, we can still rush over and take action." The short-sleeved man flattered him and said with a smile, "With old Meng taking action, we'll definitely succeed. But Senior Meng, it is widely rumored in Shuyang County that the commandant of the Black Armored Corps that ninth Master Zhu invited is a powerful expert." "All right, you can leave now," the middle-aged man coldly said. From the beginning to the end, the middle-aged man had been staring at the long blade in his hand. He did not even look at the short-sleeved man. Yes. The short-sleeved man hastily retreated. The short-sleeved man did not feel the slightest bit of anger towards the other party's attitude. This was because Elder Meng was the strongest powerhouse under his master, the Zhu clan's 13th young master. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, he was actually over 80 years old. It was only because his inner strength was dense, and he was good at maintaining his health, that he was able to maintain his current appearance. With old Meng's help, the goods will definitely be taken away. If those people arrived at the inn, Senior Meng doesn't even need to do anything. The short-sleeved man walked out of the house confidently. They had just bought this Sanshi Inn 2 days ago, and had purposely waited here for Zhu Chongshi and the others. Old Meng's real name was Meng Tian. If one were to flip through the recent Earth ranking, one would know that Meng Tian was an expert ranked 61st in the Earth ranking. Do not look down on him just because he was ranked 61st. One must know that even the 4 great commanders of the Black Armored Corps were not qualified to be listed in the Earth ranking. There were too many experts at the peak of the post-liminary realm in this world. Which of those who could be listed in the Earth ranking did not have a terrifying ultimate move? Even those experts who had just entered the innate realm had to be vigilant against those who were listed in the Earth ranking. Although their inner strength was far inferior to that of the innate realm, the experts of the Earth ranking all had their trump cards. To be able to make an expert of the Earth ranking work for him, the Zhu clan's 13th young master indeed had some tricks up his sleeve. Chapter 119. As the sky darkened, the number of mosquitoes on the road increased. Damn it, the mosquitoes of Shuyang County seem to be much fiercer than those of our Jiangning County. Ting Qinghu suddenly slapped his own face and killed a mosquito. The most painful thing about having to travel at night in the summer was that there were too many mosquitoes. Sigh, our side is still fine. It is said that in the desolate lands in the south, the mosquitoes at night are the fiercest. There is a type of poisonous mosquito that bites a warrior's hand, causing his entire arm to go numb. If he is bitten a few more times, he will be poisoned to death. Du Hong sighed. Ting Qinghu was shocked. Such a powerful poisonous mosquito? Do you think it is so easy to venture into the desolate lands? There are few people in the desolate lands, so it can produce thousand-year-old lingji, ginseng kings, and many other spiritual treasures. There are also some strange demonic beasts and even secret techniques and weapons left behind by many powerful warriors. With so many treasures, if it was easy to venture into the desolate lands, it would already be filled with people. Du Hong sighed. Ting Qinghu nodded in agreement. For example, the golden silk armor that Ting Qingshan had just obtained, the golden silkworm was unique to the desolate lands. Deep in the mountains and forests, where there are few people, it is easier for demonic beasts and spiritual treasures to appear. Ting Qingshan secretly nodded. Even the great Yen mountain next to his hometown could hide a flood dragon. How could the vast and inaccessible desolate lands not have any powerful demonic beast? Everyone, hurry up. We will arrive at the Sanshur Inn in 20 li. We want to eat roasted meat and drink wine. Just hold on for a while, we will rest when we arrive at the Sanshur Inn. Elder Wu Tan shouted. Everyone, cheer up and hold on for a while. The guards excitedly discussed what they were going to eat and drink that night. After nearly 2 hours, the caravan finally arrived at the Sanshur Inn. Esteemed guests, please come in. Seeing that a large caravan had appeared outside, 3 waiters immediately rushed out and enthusiastically helped. Steward Wu Tan ordered, "Waiter, bring these guards to your inn's backyard and prepare a few tables. Let them order whatever good wine and dishes they want." Wu Tan looked back at the group of guards and shouted, "Brothers, please pay attention, don't drink too much. Old Wu, don't worry. This is not the first time we have stayed in this inn. We will not delay anything," one of the guards said with a smile. Immediately, 70 to 80 guards led a large number of war horses, carriages, and goods to the inn's backyard. After all, goods and war horses were valuable items, especially those of the black armored corps. "Brother Qingshan, let's go in and eat first," Zhu Chongshi said to Ting Qingshan with a smile. Zhu Chongshi, his wife, children and a few servants entered the inn together with Ting Qingshan and the black armored corps. They entered the inn in one step. Ting Qingshan's gaze swept across and noticed that there were 5 tables of guests seated at one side of the inn. These people were either shirtless or bared their chests, gulping down wine and chatting freely. On their tables or beside their chairs, there were weapons such as swords and sabers. Altogether, there were more than 20 people. When Ting Qingshan and the group of heavily armored black armored corps soldiers entered the inn, the temperature of the entire inn seemed to have dropped. The men who were chatting freely lowered their voices and glanced in their direction. One by one, they touched their weapons or placed them in a convenient position. It was very common to see swords drawn and blood splattered 5 steps away from each other. Ting Qingshan frowned. Although the inn was not small, there were only 10 tables below. The other party had taken 5 tables, leaving only 5 tables. The black armored corps soldiers were all in heavy armor. Usually, 4 of them would take up a table. Even if they squeezed, there were still not enough tables. "You people." Du Hong, dressed in heavy armor, looked coldly at the others. "Squeeze to the side and give up a table." "What did you say?" A tall, shirtless man slammed the table and stood up. "What?" The 20 black armored corps soldiers turned their heads in unison and looked coldly at the man. The tall man was so frightened that his heart trembled. Clang! Clang! The 20 or so men immediately grabbed their weapons, but each and every one of them was filled with wariness. They could tell that the man was wearing heavy armor. Once a fight broke out, they would be at a disadvantage. Don't cause trouble. A cold-looking man with disheveled hair pulled the tall man down and sat him down. At the same time, he cupped his hands and said, "Good men, those 5 tables are indeed not enough for you. We will give up a table." This man with disheveled hair was obviously very authoritative. Although the other men were unwilling, they still gave up a table. Even though there were 6 tables, Ting Qingshan's group could barely squeeze in. "Innkeeper, hurry up and serve the dishes and wine." Butler Wu Tan ordered immediately after ordering the dishes. "All right, coming right away." The innkeeper personally carried the menu and ran to the backyard. Ting Qingshan's group of 6 sat there. The 20 men beside them spoke in a much quieter voice. Soon, plate after plate of dishes and jugs of good wine were constantly being served. Ting Qingshan's group's food was obviously much better than those roaming men. "Brother Qingshan, everyone should eat early. After eating, you can also have a good rest. It's getting late now. We still have to travel tomorrow morning," Zhu Chongsher said. Ting Qingshan nodded. At this moment, the sky outside was already dark. Butler Wu Tan took out his silver needles and Lan Yun Pearl to check if the food was poisoned. The sergeants of the Black Armored Army also examined it for a while before starting to eat. One had to be careful when traveling the world, especially in an inn in the wilderness. In a large room in the backyard of the inn, dozens of people were gathered. Leading them was Elder Meng. "Light the lamp," Elder Meng said calmly. "Yes." The waiter in a short-sleeved shirt nodded and immediately carried an oil lamp out of the room. He walked past the backyard and came to the main hall. He exchanged glances with the innkeeper and replaced the oil lamp that had just been extinguished. The oil lamp burned silently. The man in a short-sleeved shirt glanced at the people in the main hall. A cold glint flashed across his eyes as he laughed coldly in his heart. "Now that you've come to the inn, you're dead meat without Elder Meng's help." The group of people in the main hall of the inn were eating happily. "Qingshan, come, cheers." Zhu Chongsher smiled and raised his cup. Ting Qingshan also drank the wine in his cup in one gulp. A burning sensation rushed into his stomach, making him feel very comfortable. Suddenly, Ting Qingshan sniffed and frowned. It should be noted that Ting Qingshan could even control the flow of his qi and blood. He could even detect the slightest problem with his internal organs. He had long reached the pinnacle of internal martial arts. But now, when Ting Qingshan sniffed, he could detect a colorless and odorless gas in the air. This gas could anesthetize a person's nerve. "Hold your breath and cover your mouth and nose with a wet towel." Ting Qingshan suddenly shouted, "Someone is using poison." Poison! The main hall immediately burst into an uproar. Ting Qingshan suddenly stood up. With the reincarnation spear in his hand, he glanced at the 3 waiters at the side. "It's really poisonous." The first to faint was Zhu Chongsher's daughter. The others also felt dizzy. Fortunately, Ting Qingshan's reminder was quick and they only breathed in a small amount. Otherwise, they would have fainted long ago. The better one's physique, the harder it was to be poisoned. For example, to make an elephant faint, the amount of anesthetic needed was many times that of a human. But Ting Qingshan's physique was much stronger than an elephant's. Even if he breathed in a lot, it would still be difficult to make him faint, let alone a small amount. If Ting Qingshan had controlled his qi and blood, he would not have been poisoned. "Lord Commandant." They all looked at Ting Qingshan. "Protect 9th Master Zhu and go to the backyard," Ting Qingshan ordered. "Kill." A loud shout came from the backyard. Immediately, the sounds of fighting came from the backyard. Haha, the commandant of the Black Armored Corps Ting Qingshan is indeed a top-notch expert. To be able to discover this colorless and odorless dream with the wind so quickly, There was a burst of laughter. Suddenly, more than 10 people rushed out from the upper floor of the inn. All of them held bows and arrows in their hands and madly shot downstairs. Ting Qingshan raised his head and looked at the group of archers. In a group battle, archers pose a great threat. We have to get rid of them first. Humph! Ting Qingshan leaped up and landed on the second floor. Kill him! On the corridor of the second floor, the archers pulled out the sabers from their waists and brandished them towards Ting Qingshan. Pooh! 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 Like a whirlwind, Ting Qingshan killed more than 10 archers at lightning speed. At this moment, the other black armored corps soldiers had already protected Zhu Chongshi and his family and rushed to the backyard. After Ting Qingshan killed more than 10 archers, he kicked open the door beside him and rushed into a room on the second floor. Then, he smashed through the big window with a bang and leaped into the spacious backyard where the battle was going on. Blood was everywhere. More than 10 of the guards had already fallen to the ground. Many of them had arrows stuck in their bodies. Originally, the guards were at an absolute disadvantage. Fortunately, the black armored corps soldiers rushed over from the front hall and started fighting with the assassins on the other side. There were many people on the other side, close to 100 of them. There are actually quite a number of inner force experts. This is bad. If this goes on, more than half of our black armored corps soldiers will die. In just a short while, 2 black armored corps soldiers had fallen. Of course, there were more on the other side. Once he landed in the backyard, Ting Qingshan surveyed the frenzied killing around him and instantly locked on to a few people. Pooh! 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 Ting Qingshan's spear was extremely strange. No matter who he killed, he only needed 1 spear strike. In one breath, Ting Qingshan killed 8 people. These 8 people were all inner force experts on the other side. However, in the face of Ting Qingshan's pursuing shadow spear technique, they had no way of resisting. Good skills. A loud shout rang out. Boom! A figure darted out from a room like a bolt of lightning. The terrifying speed even caused a gust of wind, followed by a dazzling blood-red saber gleam. Ting Qingshan only felt that his entire body was suppressed by this saber gleam, as if he had fallen into an ice cave. An expert, 10 times stronger than Yu Song and Zhuge Yun. Just this frightening saber alone made Ting Qingshan's blood boil. I finally met a true expert. Who? The spear whistled like a flood dragon swallowing that ray of light. Pursuing shadow spear technique. 50,000 gene of strength. 50,000 gene of strength in one move. Clang! The saber gleam and the spear shadow clashed in the air. The expert's figure turned like a whirlwind, easily dispelling Ting Qingshan's spiraling force and flew to the roof at the side. Meng Tian was also shocked. Such a frightening spear technique. That spear technique actually seemed to contain an invisible whirlpool. Even my saber intent was affected. Come down! Ting Qingshan shouted and smashed the spear in his hand onto the wall at the side. Boom! The wall collapsed with a loud bang like it was made of paper. Crushed stones and dirt flew everywhere. Meng Tian immediately flew up. Ting Qingshan's gaze was as sharp as a saber. With a shake of his spear, the spear that was originally used to smash the wall instantly changed into a stabbing stance. Xiao! Like a bolt of lightning, the spear stabbed towards Meng Tian, who was in midair. P.S. 3 chapters completed. Chapter 120. Meng Tian casually swung his saber downwards in the face of this sharp spear that seemed to be able to pierce through the sky. Whoosh! The demonic blood-red saber flashed once again. With a clang, Meng Tian used the momentum to charge towards the black armored corps members who were fighting in the backyard. Ha ha! With a maniacal laugh, the blood-red saber flashed towards the centurion Du Hong. Du Hong's expression changed as the spear in his hand could not block in time. Swoosh! In the dark night, a ray of cold light shot through the sky. Ting Qingshan stared at Meng Tian from afar as his left hand shot out a flying saber. The speed of the flying saber was so fast that Meng Tian's expression changed slightly. Clang! Meng Tian immediately turned the blood moon saber in his hand to block the flying saber. Du Hong, and this quickly and kill all of them! Ting Qingshan roared and pounced towards Meng Tian like a ferocious tiger. The spear in his hand carried a cold glint as it pierced towards Meng Tian. Yes, Lord Commandant! Du Hong responded loudly and roared, "Brothers, kill them all!" Of the 22 members of the Black Armored Corps, 2 had already fallen. However, the 8 most troublesome inner strength experts were all killed by Ting Qingshan the moment he entered the backyard. Now, the remaining experts on the side of Sanshi were also at their wits' end when faced with the heavily armored sergeants of the Black Armored Army who were assisting each other. Swords and sabers slashed at their opponents, but they were fine. But they were only wearing soft armor. How could they fight? To kill the Black Armored Corps members, they could only attack from the cracks in their armor or their faces. Those areas were too small. Poochie! 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 The Black Armored Corps soldiers formed 2 rows and advanced continuously. One by one, the experts from Sanshi fell to their spears. The dozens of guards under Zhu Chongshi's command were also shooting arrows from the side. For a moment, Ting Qingshan's side had the upper hand. As for Meng Tian's subordinates, they suffered heavy casualties. Let's not talk about these people killing each other. Ting Qingshan and Meng Tian were also fighting excitedly. Boom! The reincarnation spear suddenly smashed over. The powerful force and speed caused a series of explosions. Meng Tian stomped his feet and leaped onto the roof of the Sanshi, which was about 3 to 4 zhang high. Ting Qingshan's reincarnation spear smashed into the wall of the Sanshi, creating a huge hole. Ting Qingshan raised his head and leaped up like an eagle pouncing on its prey. Is this Ting Qingshan really less than 20 years old? Meng Tian started to doubt the intelligence provided by the Zhu clan's 13th young master. Every move seems simple and direct, but it's hard to defend against. It looked like a straight stab, but it could rotate and change the direction of the attack at any time. It was clearly a heavy blow, but he was able to instantly withdraw his spear and change his attack. He's not even 20 years old, but his spear art is like a torrential river, majestic and imposing, making it hard for others to defend against it. Meng Tian was a little anxious. Which old monster could have taught such a disciple? In a few more years, I'm afraid I won't be his match. But he didn't know. When Ting Qingshan first created the spear art, he spent the most time and energy on the transmutation unity law spear art. This was the strongest defensive spear art. With a pull and turn of the spear, it could instantly change into any attack spear art. With the transmutation unity law as the pivot, Ting Qingshan wasn't afraid of pausing and giving the enemy an opportunity. The only flaw in this move was the toxic dragon drill. Once the toxic dragon drill was used, the spear art would lose control for a moment. However, the toxic dragon stance was a unique move that could even injure a flood dragon. If this move couldn't kill the enemy, Ting Qingshan could only escape. Thud! 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 Meng Tian dashed rapidly on the roof, and Ting Qingshan chased after him at lightning speed. Haha, Ting Qingshan, seeing that you're not even 20 years old, if you can block this move of mine, I'll spare your life today. Meng Tian cherished Ting Qingshan's talent. Boasting shamelessly, Ting Qingshan snorted coldly. Meng Tian's expression changed. He was a super expert ranked on the Earthboard and was a senior with status. Furthermore, he was over 80 years old, which was why he said that. Then receive my blood moon dance. With a maniacal laugh, Meng Tian, who was originally fleeing, suddenly turned around and slashed with a lightning-fast saber art. Ting Qingshan's eyes were sharp. With a casual movement of the spear in his hand, he stabbed forward with the pursuing shadow spear art. Who? Who? In the blink of an eye, Meng Tian's figure became a blur. Ting Qingshan could only see the saber light coming from all directions. Above, from the side, from the front, from the back, from the side. In an instant, Ting Qingshan seemed to have been trapped in a saber light prison. Blood Moon Dance, Meng Tian's world-renowned ultimate move. In an instant, he could unleash a total of 49 saber strikes. Every saber strike had the terrifying power to split stones. Clang, 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 clang. A series of hurried collisions sounded. Every collision produced a strong explosion of air, causing the surrounding tiles to crack and fly up. Meng Tian retreated and stood on a roof beam. Ting Qingshan also stood on the wooden beam. He was secretly shocked. What a shocking speed! This Meng Tian's speed is much faster than Little Yun's. Fortunately, my pursuing shadow spear art has already comprehended the concept of endless growth and unceasing. Every spear strike is faster than the previous one, and every spear strike is connected. Otherwise, with just 50,000 gene of strength, I would not be able to block it. Ting Qingshan was surprised. However, he did not know how shocked Meng Tian was. He blocked it? My Blood Moon Dance, he actually blocked it all. Meng Tian felt the blood in his body rushing to his head. He wanted to vomit blood. 49 saber strikes. Each saber strike was faster than the previous one. This had a very strict requirement on one's movement speed and saber swinging. Haha! Ting Qingshan, this old man admires you. It seems that you will be able to enter the earthly ranking soon. However, I, Meng Tian, am a man of my words. Today I will spare your life. Meng Tian smiled as he spoke and dashed into the darkness. However, a sharp whistling sound rang out. A flying saber. Meng Tian had no choice but to stop and defend against this flying saber with all his might. Meng Tian, even if you want to leave, you have to see if I allow you to. Ting Qingshan flew out almost at the same time as the flying saber. When Meng Tian blocked the flying saber, he saw that Ting Qingshan was already pouncing towards him from a high altitude. From a high altitude, the reincarnation spear slashed down with great force. Phew! Although Ting Qingshan did not succeed in converting the slashing fist into a spear art. However, with Ting Qingshan's understanding of the slashing fist, this slash was still like a mountain crashing down. Rumble, the spear brought with it a terrifying explosion. Meng Tian had just blocked the flying saber and was unable to dodge in time. He could only raise the Blood Moon saber horizontally above his head. Clang! The bricks and wood under his feet shattered as Meng Tian was directly smashed down by the spear. The 20 men in the Sanshur Inn immediately ran out of the inn when the battle started. They stood outside and watched the battle from afar. At this moment, they saw Ting Qingshan and Meng Tian fighting on the roof and then falling down. Big brother, did you hear that? One is called Meng Tian and the other is called Ting Qingshan. The man with long hair nodded and said, Meng Tian is a super expert who is listed in the earthly ranking. I didn't expect us brothers to be able to witness such a great battle in this inn in the wilderness. However, that person called Ting Qingshan is really powerful. He is not at a disadvantage at all. Just now we even wanted to fight with him. We were really courting death. The men were still somewhat afraid. Looking at his methods, Ting Qingshan alone was enough to kill all of them. Big brother, who do you think will win? The group of men stared at the Sanshur Inn. At this moment, loud noises were continuously coming from the Sanshur Inn. It was obvious that Ting Qingshan and Meng Tian were fighting inside. It should be Meng Tian. From what he said on the roof just now, it is obvious that he cherishes talent and did not use his strongest move. The man with long hair pondered and said, Moreover, Meng Tian is listed in the earthly ranking, so he definitely has a terrifying trump card. Once he uses it, that Ting Qingshan will probably be defeated. Just as he finished speaking, who? A figure smashed through the window of the inn and rushed outside. He seemed to be in a sorry state. It was Meng Tian. Swoosh! A frightening cold light pierced through the walls of the inn, as if it was a wall drilling machine. Following which, with a loud bang, Ting Qingshan's entire body smashed through the wall. Rubble flew everywhere, but Ting Qingshan's sharp eyes were still staring at Meng Tian. Pooh! The cold light reflected from the spearhead had already reached Meng Tian. Clang! Meng Tian's body flew away. Ting Qingshan, are you really courting death? Meng Tian shouted angrily. Ting Qingshan stared at him coldly. If you can kill me, then show me your moves. Otherwise. This day next year will be the anniversary of the death of an expert from the earthly ranking. Meng Tian's eyes turned cold. It was not that he did not want to kill Ting Qingshan, but if he used his trump card, it would cause a lot of damage to his body. Therefore, unless it was a life and death situation, he did not want to use this move. Moreover, Ting Qingshan's majestic and sharp spear arts left Meng Tian with no other choice. You are courting death. Meng Tian clenched his teeth. Chi-chi, strangely, Meng Tian's skin suddenly turned red. Beads of blood even seeped out from his pores and other parts of his body. In an instant, the blood dyed Meng Tian's thin shirt red. Meng Tian's entire body turned red. It was a frightening sight. Ting Qingshan was not shocked. Instead, he was happy. I can finally see the true strength of an expert from the earthly ranking. Bloodman, blood-red saber. Die! Meng Tian roared tyrannically. A blood-red shadow instantly traversed a distance of 10 zhang. Its speed was so fast that even Ting Qingshan was shocked. Chi! The blood moon saber was so fast that it even caused the air to vibrate. The shadow of the saber blurred, causing Ting Qingshan's vision to be completely blurred. He was actually unable to see the true body of the saber. Ting Qingshan's ears twitched. Combining his eyes and ears, Ting Qingshan instantly determined the position of the saber. The inner strength in his body instantly surged, causing the speed of Ting Qingshan's spear to increase by another level. When Ting Qingshan created the 5 techniques of the ardent flame, he also combined it with the ardent flame spear art to perfect the 5 elemental spear art. Every spear move could stimulate the vital acupuncture points through inner strength, causing the speed of the spear to increase rapidly. However, Ting Qingshan usually did not need to do this. Today, he finally did it. The same strength of 50,000 jin, but with the help of inner strength, the speed of the spear instantly increased by 60 to 70%. Hoo! The reincarnation spear was like a bolt of lightning. It pierced towards the blurry red saber shadow. It pierced through the sky. Clang! The reincarnation spear and blood moon saber separated upon contact. The blood moon saber and reincarnation spear were both affected and changed directions. Meng Tian and Ting Qingshan dodged each other's weapons. However, Ting Qingshan's reincarnation spear was 9 feet and 6 inches long, but the blood moon saber was only 4 feet long. At this moment, a long weapon was advantageous. Before the blood moon saber could touch Ting Qingshan, the reincarnation spear spun and pierced into Meng Tian's left arm. Chapter 121. Ah! Meng Tian screamed in pain. The power of the blood moon saber weakened. Ting Qingshan took the opportunity to slash Meng Tian's chest open. However, Meng Tian knew that he was in a life-or-death situation. The moment his left arm was pierced, he pushed off the ground and fled at high speed. Although he escaped quickly, his left arm was still cut off by Ting Qingshan's reincarnation spear. At the same time, a wound was left on his chest. Whoosh! A blood-red figure fled into the distance. Ting Qingshan, Meng Tian, will definitely take revenge for today. Meng Tian shouted. Ting Qingshan's gaze was cold and fierce. You're courting death. Ting Qingshan also dashed forward at high speed. A blood-red figure and a black figure dashed into the darkness of the wilderness one after another. How is this possible? The men were all dumbfounded. Ting Qingshan actually defeated Meng Tian and even cut off one of his arms, severely injuring Meng Tian. The leader was shocked. The men beside him asked, "Big brother, isn't Meng Tian an expert of the earth ranking? How could he be defeated by Ting Qingshan? Now that Ting Qingshan is chasing after him, will Meng Tian be killed?" The leader pondered and said, "Meng Tian's speed is obviously faster, but he has lost an arm and is severely injured. He will definitely slow down. If Ting Qingshan really chases after him, he might really be able to kill Meng Tian." At this moment, a large group of people rushed out from behind. It was Ting Qinghu, Du Hong, the other black armored corps soldiers, and Zhu Chongsher. Zhu Chongsher's expression changed when he saw the severed arm on the ground. He immediately turned and asked the men beside him, "Where is Meng Tian and Ting Qingshan?" The leader replied, "Fellow heroes, we just saw Meng Tian and Ting Qingshan fighting. Meng Tian lost an arm and escaped, and Ting Qingshan is chasing after him." Meng Tian lost? Du Hong, Ting Qinghu, Zhu Chongsher and the rest could not help but reveal looks of joy. Anyone who practiced martial arts would usually read the earth ranking. When they heard Meng Tian announce his name, they could guess his identity based on his saber technique. Everyone was worried about Ting Qingshan. After all, the other party was an amazing person who was listed in the earth ranking. In the wilderness, Ting Qingshan chased after him at high speed. "I cut off one of his arms, so Meng Tian must hate me very much." In the end, he escaped, gnashing his teeth and saying that he would take revenge. Ting Qingshan was very clear about the importance of cutting the weeds and eradicating the root. This was especially so for those who were powerful and had a great grudge against him. He had to kill them. Ting Qingshan looked around. "Yeah, there's no one around now." "Who?" Ting Qingshan's speed instantly soared. "Qin Gong, crossing worlds. I must take revenge for cutting off one of my arms." Meng Tian was filled with hatred. "He is still chasing after me. How can his speed match up to mine?" Meng Tian was very confident. He had always won with his speed. Furthermore, he had used a forbidden technique just now, which made his speed even faster. Indeed, if Ting Qingshan did not use the crossing worlds, he would not be able to catch up to him. "What?" Meng Tian felt the wind behind him and turned around. His expression changed. Ting Qingshan's speed was actually faster than his. "Impossible!" Meng Tian was not willing to believe it. "Meng Tian, die!" Ting Qingshan shouted. "I am already seriously injured. If I continue to fight, I will definitely die in the hands of Ting Qingshan. Previously, I lost my arm because my blood moon saber is shorter than his spear. This time, even if his spear pierces through me, I will take the opportunity to kill him." Meng Tian was determined to kill Ting Qingshan at all costs. Even if he were to die, he would drag Ting Qingshan down with him. Meng Tian was in a state of madness. He shouted, "Let's die together." The blood moon saber in his hand slashed towards Ting Qingshan with a cold glint. Meng Tian was already prepared to receive Ting Qingshan's sharp spear. But he was wrong. This time, Ting Qingshan did not use the pursuing shadow. Instead, ha! Ting Qingshan laughed loudly. He swung the spear in his hand as if it was a wooden stick. Just like how parents beat their children, he did not use any stick or spear technique. He simply swung the spear and smashed it towards Meng Tian. Chi! Ting Qingshan raised his arm. Rumble! It was as if a huge thunder had appeared out of nowhere. Ting Qingshan's spear had actually produced a terrible explosion. Because of the terrible qi, the surrounding land had exploded. Purring! With a loud explosion, there was a mist of blood in front of him. Ha! Satisfying. It's rare for me to use all of my strength. Ting Qingshan looked at the ground that was dyed red with blood. Just now, although it was a simple smash, it contained the strongest strength in Ting Qingshan's body, a strength of 180,000 jin. One strength can defeat 10. I don't care what technique you use, what concept you use. I can smash you into minced meat with just a swing of my spear. There were no corpses on the ground. Under the terrifying force of 180,000 jin, the spear reached a terrifying speed. It also compressed the air in front of the spear. When the reincarnation spear smashed onto Meng Tian's body, Meng Tian's tendons and bones were instantly broken. The compressed air also exploded, causing Meng Tian's entire body to explode. A strength of 180,000 jin. The pinnacle of internal martial arts. In the face of this absolute strength, Meng Tian, an expert of the earth ranking, did not even have a corpse left. The only thing that Meng Tian left behind was the Blood Moon Saber. This Blood Moon Saber is indeed a godly weapon. Even under my 180,000 jin strength, it did not deform or crack. Ting Qingshan exclaimed in admiration. He picked up the Blood Moon Saber and said, Meng Tian, you are the first expert of the earth ranking that I have killed. This Blood Moon Saber is proof. Ting Qingshan looked at the surrounding darkness and said, there are countless experts in the land of the 9 prefectures. Today I have killed Meng Tian. Everyone in the world will know my name. In the middle of the night, the people of the Black Armored Corps, Zhu Chongshi and the others were waiting outside the dilapidated Sanshi Inn. Why isn't Qingshan back yet? Ting Qinghu was slightly anxious. Zhu Chongshi, who was beside him, laughed and said, don't worry. Since Brother Qingshan has already severely injured Meng Tian, even if he cannot kill Meng Tian, he will not be in any danger. Although this was said, everyone knew that an expert of the earth ranking would be very terrifying when he went all out. At this moment, the sound of footsteps could be heard. From the darkness, Ting Qingshan walked out. Qingshan. Ting Qinghu's eyes lit up. He was overjoyed and was the first to greet Ting Qingshan. Brother Qingshan, how is it? Zhu Chongshi also went up to greet Ting Qingshan. Ting Qingshan smiled and raised the Blood Moon Saber in his hand. From today onwards there is no more Meng Tian. Although everyone present was mentally prepared, they were still shocked. Injuring an expert of the earth ranking and killing an expert of the earth ranking were two different concepts. Qingshan, you have killed Meng Tian. That means you are also an expert of the earth ranking. I believe that the new earth ranking will have your name on it. Zhu Chongshi praised. Du Hong, who was beside him, also said in surprise, Lord Commandant, you are still young. If you can be listed on the earth ranking, then you can also be listed on the Hidden Dragon ranking. To be listed on 2 rankings at the same time, then, haha, you are the first in our Guiyuan sect. Everyone was abnormally excited. Everyone knew that there was an iron rule in the ranking of the earth ranking. If a person killed an expert of the earth ranking in a one-on-one fight, or caused an expert of the earth ranking to admit defeat, then, the person who won would directly replace the position of the expert of the earth ranking. This was the fastest way. If it was just an injury, it would not be enough to replace the position. In other words, Ting Qingshan would directly be ranked 61st in the earth ranking. 61st in the earth ranking. A group of people exclaimed in admiration. In the land of the 9 prefectures, there were many people who wanted to become famous who challenged the experts of the earth ranking every day. However, the experts of the earth ranking rarely took action. Even if they did, most of them would win. Many people who wanted to become famous were killed in the challenges. But there were still many people who went to challenge just to become famous. If Ting Qingshan killed Meng Tian, he would step on Meng Tian's corpse and directly ascend to the 61st position of the earth ranking. From today onwards, he, Ting Qingshan, was no longer an ordinary warrior. There would be many people who would challenge him, and many of them would try in vain to defeat Ting Qingshan. The more, the better. It would be best if some of the true experts came. Ting Qingshan was looking forward to it. An expert would be lonely. If there was an opponent who could fight with him, an expert would be very happy. Brother Zhu, how are our losses? Ting Qingshan asked Zhu Chongsher. A trace of sorrow appeared on Zhu Chongsher's face. Out of the 80 guards under me, 36 have died and 18 are seriously injured. Most of the others also have light injuries. In other words, there are only 26 people left who can still fight. Ting Qingshan sighed in his heart. More than half of them had died. It was indeed tragic. Old Du, Ting Qingshan looked at Du Hong. Du Hong's face was solemn. Commandant, 2 of our brothers have died and 1 is seriously injured. He was lucky that the sword that pierced through his waist did not take his life. As for the others, they are fine. As the soldiers of the Black Armored Corps were all wearing heavy armor, they would usually die if they were not hit. 2 died and 1 was seriously injured. This was the end of the Black Armored Corps. What about the other party? Ting Qingshan asked. More than 80 of them died. Another dozen saw that the situation was not good and escaped. Du Hong said. Zhu Chongsher patted Ting Qingshan's shoulder. Brother Qingshan, don't worry about it. Fortunately, we had you. You warned us early and we were only slightly poisoned. Our inner force could be forced out. If we were a little late, or if you did not block Meng Tian. We are really finished this time. I wonder who could send an expert of Meng Tian's level. But it is also a good thing. If Brother Qingshan killed Meng Tian, you will be able to enter the Earth ranking. Everyone, it is getting late. Let's quickly deal with the corpses of our dead brothers and rest early. We will be on our way tomorrow morning. Zhu Chongsher said. Everyone immediately walked towards the backyard and prepared to deal with the corpses. Qingshan, you are really amazing. Walking shoulder to shoulder with Ting Qingshan, Ting Qinghu said excitedly, our Ting clan finally has someone who can be listed in both the Earth ranking and the Hidden Dragon ranking. If my grandfather and the others knew about this, they would probably wake up laughing in their dreams. From now on, Ting Qingshan's name will spread throughout the land of the 9 prefectures. Hee. Chapter 122. In the Nanxing County of Yangzhou's 13 counties, in the pavilion of Lingering Wind House's Red Card Lady, Lu Yi. The sound of the zither was mellow. Sometimes it was light and fast, sometimes it was slow and gentle. The sound of the zither could bring along the ups and downs of one's mood. It was indeed extraordinary for one's zither skills to reach such a state. Lu Yi's appearance could only be considered delicate, but her zither skills had established her position as the red card. In the pavilion, besides Lu Yi playing the zither, there was also a handsome young man in a white shirt. The handsome young man closed his eyes and listened carefully to the sound of the zither. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came from the stairs. Lu Yi, you can leave first, the handsome young man ordered calmly. Yes. Lu Yi left obediently. The handsome young man had a bad feeling. When he was listening to the sound of the zither, he did not allow anyone to disturb him. Unless something big happened. At this stage, what big things would happen? My business at Lane's Lake? Or to rob Ninth Brother's goods? The handsome young man pondered. Master. An old man walked in and bowed. The handsome young man looked over. Old Meng is dead. He was killed by the Black Armored Corps Commandant Ting Qingshan. Out of 100 assassins, only 13 are still alive, the old man said. The handsome young man's expression changed slightly. He then ordered calmly, all right, you can leave. Yes. The old man retreated. Only the handsome young man was left in the pavilion. He touched the jade ring on his thumb, but his eyes were not focused. It was obvious that he was thinking about something. Ninth brother, oh ninth brother, you are so lucky to have met an expert like Ting Qingshan. With such a talented expert in the Gui Yuan sect and Uncle Zhuge's guidance, the Gui Yuan sect will probably become stronger in the future. Old Meng, it's a pity that he died. However, I already know his saber skills. It's fine if he dies. The handsome young man suddenly said, Lu Yi, play a song for me. Soon, Lu Yi came up the stairs. Young master, what would you like to hear? Lu Yi asked. Ambush from 10 sides. The handsome young man smiled faintly. Lu Yi's heart trembled, but she still bounced up. There was a hint of a smile at the corner of the handsome young man's mouth. Ninth brother, oh ninth brother, you are very shrewd. Father gave you 10 years, and you spent more than half of it overseas. You really have great perseverance. You know that sharpening the knife does not delay the cutting of wood, but you should also understand the principle of the tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind, right? You'll be overseas for a few years. I believe that big brother and the others will be wary of you. Many brothers have secretly joined hands to resist you. I don't know if you can still have the last laugh. Ting Qingshan killing Meng Tian was nothing to the handsome young man. Because he was a businessman. Even if a post-liminary expert was listed in the earthly ranking, he would still only be a post-liminary expert. It was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. Once he faced the volley of arrows from hundreds and thousands of people, he would be shot to death. As for the fact that the merchants still practiced martial arts, to them, it was only for self-protection. Zhu Tong had once said that you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. Even if he hired bodyguards, he couldn't place all his hopes on the expert bodyguards. He had to have the ability to protect himself. Creak, creak. The wheels of the truck rolled along the official road. Beads of sweat appeared on the foreheads of the black armored corps soldiers. Oh my God! This was the scorching heat of June. It was also the afternoon, so it was extremely hot. The black armored corps soldiers had to wear thick and dense heavy armor. The inside of the heavy armor was like a furnace. Also, the heavy armor was black. Black was the best at absorbing heat. During the hottest time, the black armored corps soldiers had no choice but to remove their helmets and untie the joints of their heavy armor to dissipate heat. Fortunately, the black armored corps soldiers had excellent physiques and inner strength, so they were able to withstand the heat. How would an ordinary person dare to wear black heavy armor under the scorching summer sun? They would definitely die from the heat. It's too hot. Ting Qinghu wiped his forehead and sweat flowed down. Qingshan, why aren't you sweating at all? Qinghu, you want to compete with Commandant? Du Hong, who was at the side, laughed. It was true that Ting Qingshan was not afraid of heat. Be it winter or summer, it did not affect him. One must know that Ting Qingshan's physique could even withstand the terrifyingly low temperature of the frost jade pool. Even though Ting Qingshan was wearing the dark steel inner armor and the black uniform of the black armored corps, he did not sweat at all under such heat. With his physique, Ting Qingshan would be fine even if he was placed on a normal flame. Ting Qingshan could withstand low temperatures to an extremely low level. Ting Qingshan could also withstand high temperatures of a few hundred degrees. Ting Qingshan would not be able to withstand it unless it was an extremely high temperature flame. Brother Zhu, it's so hot. Why don't you rest in the carriage? Ting Qingshan laughed. Zhu Chongsher laughed and shook his head. This temperature is nothing. I've experienced hotter temperatures on some of the islands overseas. Brother Qingshan, thank you for your hard work along the way. I estimate that we will cross the boundary of Shuyang County and enter Chu County by tonight. By tomorrow evening, we will have reached our destination. Ever since the battle at San Serene, the convoy did not encounter any other dangers. It was a smooth journey. When the time comes, Brother Qingshan, you must rest well at my place. This time, it's all thanks to you. Zhu Chongsher was filled with gratitude. Haha, if you want to thank me, wait until we reach your place. Let my brothers rest well for the night. It's been a tiring journey for the past half a month. No one dares to relax even when they sleep at night. Ting Qingshan laughed. Everyone was now in a relaxed mood. They were very close to their destination. As time passed, the sun set and the sky darkened. Ting Qingshan and the rest had already reached the border of Shuyang County. In a few more miles, we will have passed Shuyang County and entered Chu County. Yu Chongshi's face was filled with joy. Ting Qingshan suddenly frowned and looked at a village not far away. There were sounds of crying coming from there, and there were many people crying. Soon, Yu Chongshi heard it too. What's going on in front? Yu Chongshi was a little surprised. There are many people crying. Even if someone in the family died, there wouldn't be so many people crying. Ting Qingshan was also a little surprised and puzzled. Although he was puzzled, they were in a hurry and would not look for trouble. After advancing for less than an hour, Ting Qingshan and the rest arrived at an inn at the border of Shuyang County and Chu County. Yunlai Inn. The 4 words on the banner were very clear. Dear guests, please come in. 2 waiters immediately ran out to welcome them. Even the innkeeper ran out very quickly and was very enthusiastic. Same old rules. The guards were allowed to have their meal in the backyard and watch over the goods. As for the black armored corps soldiers, they finished their meal in the hall on the first floor of the inn. It was still early and they were not in a hurry, so they could have a good meal. Hi waiter, can I ask you something? Ting Qingshan asked with a smile. Please ask away. The waiter had long been frightened by the attire of the black armored corps, and was naturally very obedient. There is a village a few miles away on the road that we came from. How could it not be that something big had happened? I noticed that they were crying rather miserably? Ting Qingshan asked. Immediately, the surrounding black armored corps soldiers looked at the waiter, wanting to know the answer. The waiter heard and smiled helplessly. Dear guest, speaking of this, that Jinjia village, sigh, is really pitiful. About a month ago, there would be a person disappearing from Jinjia village for no reason every day. That person was nowhere to be seen, no corpse to be found, not even a trace of blood. Oh! Ting Qingshan and the rest listened carefully. This went on for about half a month, and a person disappeared every day. If there were wolves coming down from the flaming mountains to eat people, there would at least be corpses and blood. At the very least, there would be a scream when someone died. But no one saw and no one heard. The person just disappeared into thin air. The people of Jinjia village were of course afraid. The worst thing was that starting from half a month ago, 2 people disappeared every day. Hearing this, Ting Qingshan was shocked. He disappeared without a trace. It was too abnormal. It was still the same. No one knew the reason, but people just disappeared into thin air. Just last night, 3 people from Jinjia village disappeared. The waiter sighed. 3 people, gone just like that. If this goes on, what will happen to Jinjia village? Ting Qingshan and the rest listened with some fear. People disappeared into thin air? At first, 1 person disappeared every day, then 2 every day. Starting from last night, there were 3 every day. I heard that the people of Jinjia village are discussing moving away. The waiter shook his head. Although Jinjia village has been on this land for hundreds of years, guarding their ancestors and not wanting to leave this place. But this kind of life is too scary. In my opinion, within these few days, Jinjia village will probably move away. Ting Qingshan knew very well how difficult it was for a large village to leave the land that gave birth to them. Because once they move, what would happen to the people's food and drink? Where would the fertile land come from? It was difficult. If they had money, it would be easy. But if a village did not have land, how would it be able to support the migrating people? The process of moving was a very tragic one. To tell the truth, our inn is also a little afraid. But we have not lost a single person. Everyone is hoping for luck. If one day we also lose a person, I'm afraid we will all have to leave. The waiter shook his head and walked away. Ting Qingshan and the rest could only sigh as they discussed. Whether it was an expert killing a person or a wild leopard eating a person, it was impossible for there to be no sound, not even a trace of blood. The carriages still had to continue on their journey. Everyone could only sigh. The next morning, Ting Qingshan and the rest continued on their journey. When they stepped into Chu County, everyone was much more relaxed. They waited until evening. At the entrance of the stronghold of the #1 gang in Chu County, the Red Rock Gang. Under the leadership of their 3 leaders, a large number of bandits walked out in a majestic manner. Brother Zhu, is this our destination? Ting Qingshan was a little surprised. Zhu Chongshi smiled mysteriously. Big brother. The leader's eyes turned red when he saw Zhu Chongshi. I have not seen Big Brother for a few years. Big Brother has turned black. The other 2 leaders behind the leader bowed. Master. Seeing this, Ting Qingshan immediately understood. This gang was under Zhu Chongshi's command. It turned out that when Zhu Chongshi was roaming overseas, he had also ordered his trusted subordinates to establish this gang. Zhu Chongshi and the leader hugged each other excitedly. Qingshan, this is my sworn brother Lu Hu. Second brother, this is the commandant of the Black Armored Corps of the Gui Yuan sect, Ting Qingshan. He is an expert listed in the earthly ranking. If not for Brother Qingshan, I would have suffered for nothing in the past few years overseas. Zhu Chongshi introduced. Lu Hu was very clear about what this shipment meant to his big brother. It was not just about Zhu Chongshi suffering for a few years overseas, it also represented whether he could obtain the position of the Zhu family's future patriarch. Brother Qingshan. The leader, Lu Hu, cupped his hands. You protected my big brother's goods. I, Lu Hu, will never forget this favor. If you need anything, just tell me. I, Lu Hu, will definitely not blink. Chapter 123. In the Red Rock Gang, Ting Qingshan and the rest were warmly received. That night, everyone had a hearty meal. Zhu Chongshi arrived at his destination safely and was obviously very happy. He drank until he was dead drunk before separating from Ting Qingshan and the rest. Brother Qingshan, you have to stay here for a few more days. Zhu Chongshi reeked of alcohol and staggered as he walked. He put his arm around Ting Qingshan's shoulders and said warmly, I know that the Black Armored Corps is usually free, so don't worry. Just treat it as a few more days of fun. Oh right, there are pretty girls staying at your brother's residences. I've specially arranged for 2 beautiful twin girls to stay at your place. Have a good time tonight, haha. After Zhu Chongshi finished speaking, he smiled and left leisurely with the help of his subordinates. Girls? Ting Qingshan shook his head and walked back to his residence. Ting Qingshan wasn't sure if the other soldiers of the Black Armored Army enjoyed those women, but there was no doubt that Ting Qingshan had practiced the 3 postures of Xing-Yi that night. Furthermore, he had sat cross-legged in the courtyard for the entire night, not touching the 2 women at all. In a central room, Zhu Chongshi sat on the main seat. He was no longer drunk. Master! In the middle of the central room, 2 burly men bowed and shouted. A smile appeared on Zhu Chongshi's face. Thank you for your hard work. Did you lose any goods along the way? Fortunately, we did not let you down. One of them said firmly. We gathered with the other merchants and formed a large caravan with close to 1,000 guards. Although there were some twists and turns along the way, we did not lose any of our goods. We brought all 4 boxes of goods here. Merchants would usually gather with other merchants when they went on a long journey. When there were more merchants, they would form a large group, and everyone would be able to hire more guards. This was also safer. Zhu Chongshi nodded. Very good. It's getting late now. Both of you can go and rest. Yes, master. The 2 men retreated. Zhu Chongshi picked up the teacup beside him and drank 2 mouthfuls of tea. The light in his eyes was restrained and there was not a hint of drunkenness in him. Father is right, we cannot put all our eggs in one basket. If it weren't for Brother Qingshan, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to protect this batch of goods. My strength isn't enough to deal with Meng Tian. If the goods are stolen, then only the Fan brothers' goods will be left. After years of hard work, Zhu Chongshi had divided the goods he had accumulated from overseas into 2 batches. The Fan brothers disguised themselves as ordinary traveling merchants and rushed to Chu County with 4 boxes of goods. Zhu Chongshi, on the other hand, was rushing to Chu County with 10 carts of goods. Even if the 10 truckloads of goods were robbed, he still had 4 truckloads of goods. In Zhu Chongshi's opinion, even with 4 boxes of goods, he still had a 20% chance of seizing the patriarch's throne. Brother Qingshan, you're so young. I believe that I am diligent, talented, and have had many fortuitous encounters. There shouldn't be many in the younger generation who are stronger than me, but this brother Qingshan. Zhu Chongshi had been roaming overseas for many years. He had experienced life and death situations and had had fortuitous encounters. He had never slacked off in his martial arts training. He had thought that he was strong enough. Who would have thought that Ting Qingshan could actually kill Meng Tian? Although Zhu Chongshi was very confident, he didn't think that he could defeat Meng Tian. There's always someone better than you out there. Zhu Chongshi sighed. Father is right. No matter what, we can't be complacent. When we are complacent, we won't be far from failure. He had just returned from overseas, but the lofty sentiments in his heart had been dealt a heavy blow by Ting Qingshan's strength. Zhu Chongshi also understood the deeper meaning behind his father's words. Night. A messenger pigeon landed in the Guiyuan sect of Jiangning County. Messenger pigeons were very common in the land of the 9 prefectures. Of course, only sects or wealthy merchants and clans had the capital to specially train messenger pigeons and set up intelligence points in various places. The road was winding. For example, Ting Qingshan and the rest had to travel 2,000 miles from Jiangning County to Chu County. In reality, the road was winding and most of the way was a detour. As for the straight line distance, it was much shorter. Messenger pigeons did not need to care about the obstructions of rivers and mountains. In addition, the land of the 9 prefectures was nurtured by the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. The speed of messenger pigeons was extremely fast. Some of the best messenger pigeons could pass through the borders of a prefecture in a day. For example, the dark demonic horse of the 3 dragon horses could travel 5,000 miles in a day. However, due to the winding road, it would take a day to travel through the whole of Yangzhou. In the Guiyuan sect, outside the door of the sovereign Zhuge Yuanhong's study, a middle-aged man in a gray robe ran in anxiously. At this moment there was no light in the study, and it was completely dark. However, the man in the gray robe knew that the sovereign had spent most of the nights in the study. Instead, he rarely went to the sovereign's training field. Bang! 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 Come in. With a creak, the door of the study was pushed open. Zhuge Yuanhong had already stood up and lit a candle. Sovereign, there's an urgent secret letter from Shuyang County. The man in the gray robe hastily handed over a secret letter that was rolled up into a small circle. Zhuge Yuanhong raised his eyebrows. An urgent letter was definitely not an ordinary one. Frowning, Zhuge Yuanhong took the letter and opened it. After reading it, he immediately laughed and said, "Ha ha, what a surprise! Junior Marshal Brother Qingyang, take a look." Surprise? The man in the gray robe was startled. He was slightly puzzled, but he still took the letter. 2 of our black armored corps soldiers died, and 1 was severely injured. Ting Qingshan killed Meng Tian? The man in the gray robe looked at Zhuge Yuanhong in shock. Sovereign, how is this possible? Junior Marshal Brother Qingyang, this message only says that Qingshan severely injured Meng Tian and chased him all the way. Later on, he returned with a blood moon saber. As for whether he killed Meng Tian or not, nobody saw it. But no one saw it. Zhuge Yuanhong said with a faint smile. No one saw it, so it's hard to explain this matter. The man in the gray robe nodded and said anxiously, "But Meng Tian is an expert of the earth ranking. How could he be defeated by Ting Qingshan and even have his weapon taken away? With his weapon taken away, it's very likely that he was killed." Regardless of whether Meng Tian was really dead or not, it was a fact that his weapon had been taken away. Against a super expert, having his weapon taken away meant a complete defeat. Shuyang County has also said that Ting Qingshan severely injured Meng Tian and cut off one of his arms. Then, he chased after him all the way, but they didn't say that he was killed. Zhuge Yuanhong said. Yes. The man in the gray robe nodded. Actually, this news was spread by the men who had seen Ting Qingshan severely injure Meng Tian. The Sanshi Inn had gone through a fierce battle, and the 20 or so people left very quickly. They didn't know whether Ting Qingshan had killed Meng Tian or not. Since these men were roaming around Shuyang County, this kind of news was naturally widely discussed. The more this news spread, the faster it spread. Eventually, it reached the ears of the intelligence personnel of the Gui Yuan sect. Haha! Qingshan will definitely be able to enter the hidden dragon ranking. Zhuge Yuanhong laughed heartily. As for whether he can enter the earth ranking, it's hard to say. Because in order to enter the earth ranking, the Wan Xiang sect's examination is also very strict. It's also hard to say whether Qingshan had relied on himself to take away his opponent's weapon. Because no one saw it. The man in the gray robe nodded. It was indeed very difficult to enter the earth ranking. Looking at those experts who had entered the earth ranking, which one of them didn't have a series of shocking achievements, the fastest way to enter the earth ranking was to kill the opponent directly. Of course, this had to be seen by someone, otherwise, who would know if you were the one who killed the opponent. The second way was to be beaten until the opponent officially admitted defeat. This also had to be seen by someone. Zhuge Yuanhong smiled and said, "No matter what, my Gui Yuan sect finally has a junior who can enter the hidden dragon ranking. No one will dare to say that the juniors of my Gui Yuan sect are useless." There were many experts among the younger generation of the Gui Yuan sect. The two young commanders, Zhang Feng and Guan Lu, as well as Zhuge Yun and the others. However, the outside world still thought that the juniors of the Gui Yuan sect were not good enough. The outside world didn't know the geniuses of the sect. They only looked at the hidden dragon ranking. Sovereign! The gray-robed man suddenly became nervous and said excitedly, "Ting Qingshan is not even 20 years old, but he was able to defeat Meng Tian now. This is definitely the strength of the earth ranking. Do you think he can reach the innate realm?" Innate realm? Zhuge Yuanhong's eyes lit up. There was no need to say more about the significance of an innate realm expert to a sect. "You can leave first," Zhuge Yuanhong said. "Yes, Sovereign." The gray-robed man immediately left respectfully. Zhuge Yuanhong waved his hand and extinguished the candle. In the dark study room, Zhuge Yuanhong sat quietly for a long time. Ting Qingshan has a clean background. It's impossible for him to be a chess piece of other sections. Moreover, I don't think any sect would be willing to use such a genius as a chess piece. He is definitely the #1 genius of my Gui Yuan sect in the past 1,000 years. If Ting Qingshan can continue to improve at this speed, in 10 or 100 years, my Gui Yuan sect, under the leadership of Ting Qingshan, might one day surpass Qinghu Island. Become the #1 sect in Yangzhou. Ting Qingshan, I will train you with all my strength. Let's see how far you can reach. I hope you won't disappoint me. Sometimes one must be decisive. Although Ting Qingshan's parents were not disciples of the Gui Yuan sect and could not be considered as the most trustworthy ones, Ting Qingshan had a clean background. However, Ting Qingshan could be considered to have a clean background. If such a peerless genius was not nurtured, how could he be snatched away by other sects? When it was time to make a decision, one must be decisive. In his heart, Zhuge Yuanhong already intended to train Ting Qingshan as the next sovereign. The position of sovereign of the Gui Yuan sect was not passed from father to son, but from the most outstanding disciple. In the past, Zhuge Yuanhong treated Zhang Feng, Guan Lu, and his son Zhuge Yun as candidates for the position of sovereign. Although these three people were powerful, but, compared to Ting Qingshan, who could defeat Meng Tian, they were far inferior. The most important thing was that Ting Qingshan was only 17 years old. In the past 1,000 years, no one in the Gui Yuan sect had defeated an expert of the earth ranking at the age of 17. The most important thing was that in the past, Ting Qingshan had always trained by himself and had never truly received the training of the Gui Yuan sect. Gui Yuan heart technique and dark moon spear technique, which should I pass to him? Zhuge Yuanhong began to ponder. One is my Gui Yuan sect's most treasured technique, a heaven-class secret technique, while the other is only an earth-class secret technique. However, it is a spear art. Zhuge Yuanhong also began to seriously consider how to train Ting Qingshan. Chapter 124. Chu County, Scholar Tree City, Red Rock Gang's doorstep. It was already in the afternoon, and it would be dark in about an hour's time. Brother Qingshan, I let you stay for a few more days. Why are you in such a hurry to go back? Zhu Chongshi said helplessly. Did I, as your brother, fail to entertain you well? Brother Zhu, you have already entertained us well enough. However, the Black Armored Corps has just finished its recruitment phase. My troops will also be replenished with new recruit. The Black Armored Corps soldiers need to be replenished, eliminated, and trained. There are many things to do. We really can't stay any longer. Ting Qingshan said. Zhu Chongshi looked up at the sky. The sun was no longer scorching hot. Qingshan, it looks like the sky will turn dark soon. Let's leave tomorrow morning. The weather is just right. It's not too hot now. We can rush to the next city in one go. Ting Qingshan smiled and cupped his hands. Brother Zhu, there's no need to keep us here. When you come to Jiangning County City, it won't be too late for us brothers to meet again. That's fine. Zhu Chongshi cupped his hands as well. I won't keep you here. Brother Qingshan, take care. Under the watchful eyes of Zhu Chongshi and the rest, Ting Qingshan and the rest of the 20 men rode away on their war horses. The hooves of the horses kicked up a cloud of dust. 20 black shadows galloped on the official road. The Black Armored Corps moved at an extremely fast speed, since they did not need to care about the carriages and wagons. It took them an entire day to rush to the Red Rock Gang from Yunlai'an. However, on Ting Qingshan's return journey, it only took him slightly more than half an hour to reach the Yunlai'an from the Red Rock Gang. Ting Qingshan's ears twitched as he glanced at the faraway Yunlai'an. Many warriors have gone to the Jinjia village now. Ting Qingshan's hearing was much better than the average person's. That Jinjia village has people disappearing for no reason. Why are warriors going there now? Could it be that someone has found the reason? Ting Qingshan was still a little curious about the pitiful Jinjia village. It was getting late anyway. An early rest would not delay the journey. Stop! Ting Qingshan ordered. Lu Lug, following Ting Qingshan's order, the horses raised their hooves high and the 20 cavalrymen stopped in unison. The waiter at the Gathering Cloud Inn, as well as some passing merchants and cultivators who were resting, were somewhat astonished when they saw this well-trained cavalry. Even the horses were covered in heavy armor, yet they were still able to gallop so quickly and move in unison. This kind of cavalry was definitely not something an ordinary family could cultivate. Sir, this way. The waiter immediately welcomed them warmly. He placed the war horses in the stable at the back and sent 3 black armored army sergeants to guard them. The others entered the inn's hall. The 17 of them occupied 4 tables. Give everyone a bowl of herbal tea first. Du Hong instructed the waiter. Okay. The waiter replied. Du Hong looked at Ting Qingshan and said in a low voice, Commandant, although the sky is dark, it gets dark later in the summer. If we hurry, we should be able to reach the next city. Du Hong did not understand. Not only him, but Ting Qinghu and the others were also confused. However, Ting Qingshan had absolute authority. If he ordered them to stop, no one dared to disobey. Ting Qingshan smiled and shouted, Waiter! Immediately, a waiter ran over. Sir, what's the matter? The night before yesterday you stayed in this inn. I was the one who took care of you. Ting Qingshan smiled and nodded. Did something big happen to Jinjia village in the past 2 days? Oh, you're well informed. The waiter was surprised. About a month ago, members of Jinjia village started disappearing for no reason. At first, one person disappeared every day. Then, 2 people disappeared every day. Starting 2 days ago, 3 people disappeared every day. Sir, can you guess the reason? Ting Qingshan smiled faintly. Continue. The waiter was still fearful of Ting Qingshan and the others. He did not dare to keep them in suspense. Sir, you probably won't be able to figure it out even if you break your head. In the past 2 days, the terrifying incident at Jinjia village has caused some adventuring warriors to go over to investigate. Just last night, they finally found out. Ting Qingshan's gaze froze. They found out that there was a man-eating monster. The waiter lowered his voice. That monster was pitch black. It disappeared in a flash. The only expert warrior who saw it did not see clearly what the monster looked like. He only knew that the monster disappeared in a flash and a person was swallowed. Gone. Ting Qingshan was shocked. A person was swallowed in a flash? Waiter, don't talk nonsense. Du Hong, who was at the side, shouted. I wouldn't dare. The waiter hastily said. Dear guests, don't doubt me. This incident was spread with eyes and ears. It was even witnessed by an expert warrior. It's definitely true. Just today, quite a few martial artists came here. They all went to Jinjia village. There were many hot-blooded warriors who roamed the world and went through life and death battles. These warriors loved to participate in these strange events. Knowing that there was a black monster, these people were naturally happy to investigate. All right, you may leave. Ting Qingshan ordered. At this moment, another waiter had already brought over plates of dishes. Commandant, do you believe what the waiter said? Du Hong and Ting Qinghu looked at Ting Qingshan. It can't be a groundless rumor. Perhaps there really is a black monster. Ting Qingshan said. At this moment, he recalled the flood dragon in his hometown, the Great Yen Mountain. In this world, there were even flood dragons. It was possible that there was a black monster that could swallow a person in a flash. Du Hong smiled. Commandant, what do these waiters know? There are many rumors in the world. Don't believe them all. The tragedy that happened to Jinjia village in the past month is true. Ting Qingshan looked at Du Hong. Old Du, let me ask you. Can you tell me why people kept disappearing from Jinjia village? And why no one in the village found out? 1 clansman disappeared out of thin air. 1 disappeared, 2, 3 the numbers increased. Of course, Jinjia village would be on high alert. There would even be many clansmen keeping watch at night. But they still disappeared without a trace. A village is connected to another. If there are many people keeping watch at night, taking people away without a trace would be difficult even for an expert. Even an expert would find it difficult to take someone away without making a sound. Ting Qingshan said, All right, let's rest here tonight. All of you stay here. I will go to Jinjia village to investigate and see what kind of black monster it is. Ting Qingshan had made his decision. Everyone could only obey. The sky was dark. Whoosh! Ting Qingshan jumped out of the window and quickly arrived at the stables. There were 9 black armored corps soldiers guarding the stables. The war horses of the black armored corps were extremely valuable. When they walked outside, there would always be people guarding them. Sir Commandant. The 9 soldiers bowed when they saw Ting Qingshan. All right, bear with it for now. When night falls, another group of people will come and replace you. Then you can have a good rest. After comforting them, Ting Qingshan carried the reincarnation spear on his back and walked into the darkness. His speed gradually increased as he began to run in the direction of Jinjia village. Ting Qingshan did not use crossing worlds. Instead, he relied on the explosive power of his muscles. Hoo! Hoo! The wind howled in his ears. Ting Qingshan's running speed was even faster than the galloping war horses. In a short while, Ting Qingshan saw the Jinjia village in the distance, which was filled with flames. Who is it? The guard at the entrance of the Jinjia village shouted. Brother, I roamed the world alone. I heard that there was a black monster in your Jinjia village. Therefore, I rushed over to investigate. Ting Qingshan laughed heartily. From Ting Qingshan's point of view, the Jinjia village, which was currently in a state of panic, should be very welcoming towards the arrival of warriors. Indeed, the door opened and a few people came forward. The leader was a white-haired elder. My lord. The elder had a sorrowful expression on his face. Our Jinjia village can only rely on the help of experts like you, my lord, when we encounter such a monster. Last night we discovered that it was a black monster. I hope that tonight, my lord and the other experts can help our Jinjia village to kill this monster. The unknown was the most terrifying. Last night they finally discovered that it was a black monster. The people of the Jinjia village were relieved. Everyone hoped that the experts would be able to kill the monster. After all, until the last moment, no one wanted to migrate. Don't worry, uncle. Ting Qingshan comforted him and stepped into the Jinjia village. The Jinjia village was slightly smaller than Ting Qingshan's hometown, the Tingjia village. The training field was also slightly smaller. However, at this moment there were more than 100 people on the training field. Ting Qingshan's gaze swept across. Those together should be the heroes of the Jinjia village. As for those who are scattered and seem uncooperative, they should be the warriors. Warriors who did not know each other would usually be wary of each other. How could they be as united as the normal clansmen of the Jinjia village? Who would have thought that another expert would come? A voice sounded and a skinny youth wearing a short-sleeved shirt ran over. I am Duan Ho. What about you, brother? This Duan Ho was very enthusiastic. Qin Lang. Ting Qingshan replied. The name Ting Qingshan was too famous. The news of Ting Qingshan defeating Meng Tian was widely spread in this generation of Shuyang County and Chu County. Ting Qingshan did not want to cause trouble at the moment, so he gave a fake name. Brother Qin Lang, including you, there are a total of 28 martial artists here today. But, Duan Ho chuckled. Most of them have average strength. Take those few good-for-nothings for example. Even if they were to work together, they wouldn't be a match for me. Duan Ho pointed at 6 fierce-looking men who had gathered together not far away. They have no strength, yet they still came to find that black monster. They are really seeking death. The one who saw the black monster yesterday was a second-rated warrior. Even a second-rated warrior could not see the monster's movements clearly. Just that speed alone is scary enough. Duan Ho sighed. However, Brother Qin Lang looks like an expert based on his aura. Oh! Ting Qingshan smiled with interest. You can tell an expert just from his appearance? The full bottle does not shake, the half bottle shakes. Duan Ho laughed. The more arrogant one is, the more average their strength is. However, Brother Qin Lang, there are still powerful experts among us. Look over there, that is Tai Yi Hall's expert Jin Tao. He is the direct disciple of Tai Yi Hall's leader. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.